8670 or windownation.com to book a consultation.
I've been telling you all about the Secret War on our cash and the free report you can receive a copy of by contacting Swiss America at 800-289-2646. I'd also like to encourage you to subscribe to their podcast on YouTube. Just search Swiss America Trading. The podcast can provide you a ton of vital information and financial news in the challenging and uncertain times we're in. Subscribe today. Learn more about BRICS, industry leaders, and their market predictions for the future, along with what you might expect to see in terms of precious metal performance in the weeks and months ahead. Message and data rates may apply.
Nearly 2 weeks after it was first detected on the umbilical cord of a calf in South Texas, the New World screwworm infestation, authorities say, has now spread to at least a dozen animals. ABC's Jim Ryan has more from Dallas.
In Texas, cattle, sheep, and goats in 6 counties have been found infested with the parasitic larvae of the New World screwworm, along with a dog in New Mexico. The latest case came from Sutton County, 135 miles northwest of San Antonio, raising concerns that the screwworm problem is moving beyond South Texas, where it first came in from Mexico.
Calling all movie buffs, a big batch of props from some of Hollywood's most famous and biggest selling movies are hitting the auction block.
Come with me.
The brown hat that Gene Wilder wore in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory will be for sale. So will the hoverboards from Back to the Future 2 and a pair of boxing shorts worn by none other than Rocky himself. The Hollywood and Entertainment Signature Auction will be held in mid-July. Bidding starts at $100,000 for the Wicked Witch of the West hat worn by Margaret Hamilton. And if you've got $1 million,
I am your father.
a lightsaber used by Luke Skywalker in The Empire Strikes Back, complete with Luke's severed hand attached, can be yours. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Some familiar faces returning to Wimbledon this year. The tournament revealing that Serena Williams and Venus Williams will team up and return to the Grand Slam Championship as doubles partners. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Hot summer days and high energy bills are on the way. Upgrade your home's old leaky windows this month during Window Nation's Buy 4 Get 4 free sale. Yes, half of your new beautiful energy efficient windows free. Plus no money down and no monthly payments or interest for 2 years. Call now 866-200-8670 or windownation.com. In select markets, trust our family of brands, New South Window and ArmorView. That's 866-200-8670 or windownation.com to book a consultation.
Kale & Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
You've got bikes, you've got scooters, you've got delivery drivers, now we have robots. What does it say about a city? And I get it, this is the direction of technology. All of the extra technology that's moving as you're trying to move in an already congested city, I think there's going to be a lot of pushback and resistance to the robots here in Philadelphia. Short of the bougie crowd that's going to love it in and around Market and Chestnut.
Send me my Chipotle. Oh, there's a robot from Uber. Like, are we that lazy?
Start your day with Kale & Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Weather sponsored by USPS Ground Advantage.
We'll get down to the low 60s overnight. Tomorrow early, we'll have some clouds and then some sunshine in the afternoon. Later on in the day, maybe a thunderstorm, gusty winds possible too. Thursday, warmer, high 91, maybe even a thunderstorm in the afternoon with some very heavy rain. Friday, high 82.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast.
Pump up the volume.
When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. Free speech lives here. The WPHT Afternoon Show.
And we have liftoff, 3:06 p.m. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Beware the Ides of June. Beware the Ides of June. We're going to start hot today. It's hot. Not as hot as New York City after a Knicks championship win because nothing is that hot. But we are live here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Shawn Farash with you. Will Chamberlain with you for the first hour, the 3 p.m. hour. Every time myself and Will Chamberlain are on the air, something wild happens. Either the United States is winning a hockey game or there's some sort of madness happening with Iran. And every time Will Chamberlain is on Piers Morgan, he's demolishing some idiot who just doesn't know what they're saying. I'm surprised they still let him on. Number to call, 855-839-1210. Will Chamberlain, thanks for joining. How are you today? How's it been? I know you've been pretty busy.
Yeah, doing great, Shawn. Yeah, busy, lots to do. And also, actually busy in sort of my private legal world as well, which is usually not the case, but, dealing with clients. And so I actually do occasionally do stuff like that. Not too often, but I got a good one. So
that's good. That's very good. Of all the accusations that the folks like you and me get of being paid by foreign countries, it's a wonder we even need clients, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I said, guys, if any of that was true, there would be signs. There would be.
Oh my gosh, I wouldn't need. Yeah, right. Clients. Why would I deal with clients that are getting paid $7,000 a tweet? That'd be great.
Exactly, $7,000 a tweet. By the way, I tweet a lot more. I'm just and I already tweet a lot. As I am broadcasting live from the great feline civil war of 2026, the cats aren't getting along. It's out of control. So, like I said, if we were getting $7,000 a post, I would be we'd be in a bigger house. But let's just jump off. Yeah, dude, 30,000 feet. What are we gonna do? 30,000 feet. Iran deal on the horizon. I would be lying to everybody if I told you I wasn't skeptical. When the war started. And everyone's, it's a limited military operation, no boots on the ground. I also was skeptical and said, well, when does that ever happen, right? Especially in the Middle East. Well, up until this point, there have not been, there's not been a legitimate boots on the ground operation. The strikes were fairly limited to military targets, and there was a 10-week, 2-week ceasefire that has gone on since April 7th. We have been, it has felt like to me that there's been a little bit of tail chasing that has gone on here. We have a deal. We don't have a deal. We're going to bomb them. We're not going to bomb them. They want to make a deal. They don't want to make a deal. It feels like a game of kick the can. Now we find out that they apparently have DocuSign in Tehran, which is cool. I didn't realize they had that technology out there in the cave that they're in, but they do. And they've apparently digitally signed a memorandum of understanding. And some of the details are kind of leaking out. And I don't know which ones are true and which ones are not, because we've been through this exercise before. But it sounds like Iran is going to be incentivized to engage in some good behavior. But I don't know. I feel like that's kind of being held together by Scotch tape. What do you feel like with this?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like who knows what's in the deal. I think that, there's a few... I think the administration's doing a couple things wrong, and we can say that without actually looking at, without knowing what's in the deal, we can say the administration's doing a couple things wrong. The first thing they're doing is they're getting really angry at people, and not just the administration, but kind of surrogates are getting really angry at people who they claim are mischaracterizing the deal or spreading misinformation. And I'm like, okay, but you could just release it and we wouldn't have any of this problem. The deal is signed, right? It's agreed to. You could just release it. And so it's weird to see claims being made about the deal. I don't know who to believe. There's a lot of different claims being made, and it's hard to say what it's going to be. But I don't think the administration's doing a very good job here. I think it should just release the deal and just let everybody debate it. It's going to come out eventually. I guess maybe because what's actually happened is you've allowed the Iranian media to get out in front of this because they're less scrupulous. So you've allowed them to get out in front of it and spread their own framing. I think that's silly. The second thing that is weird, and it's not clear if this is some sort of play or whatever, but it's a weird hostility to Israel straight from Trump, honestly. And if you saw his interview that he was doing in France, he was talking about how Bibi's not, they're being too aggressive in Lebanon, and I think this is all quite silly. And then the other thing was the Israelis apparently asked for this deal, which purports to bind them, right? Everybody's saying this deal binds their action in Lebanon. So Israel's like, well, can we even see this deal that you are purporting to bind us, a sovereign state, with? And the Americans were like, no. And I mean, we just went to war with these guys. We did a huge joint combined operation with them. And all of a sudden we're turning around and talking with the adversary in that war, and then refusing to give our ally the contents of the negotiated agreement that, again, the Iranians are insisting binds the Israelis and prevents them from acting in Lebanon. That's weird. That's really weird, and I don't think it's a good way to treat Israel. I think it'll have knock-on effects on our relationship. I think it'll have very interesting political knock-on effects domestically in Israel, which I think is a very, very under-discussed topic. But Netanyahu faces elections in the fall. It's not, very, very soon, and wasn't projected to win those elections in the first place. But now you have the entire Israeli political spectrum, including the Israeli left, going after Netanyahu and saying he's the one who's allowed President Trump to sell us down the river. And, if a liberal, even a liberal Zionist, it can be, the liberals have a history of being pretty hawkish in a lot of cases. And there's uniform hawkishness against Iran. The liberal kind of leftiness really applies to how they deal with the Palestinians, not with how they deal with the Iranian nuclear threat. So it leads to this interesting question of, go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Good. Yeah.
Yeah. So it leads to an interesting question of are you hurting Netanyahu so badly that he's going to lose because you're humiliating him publicly when he had put a lot at stake in terms of look at me, I'm the strong partner who's worked with President Trump and has solidified the American alliance. If you've now spit in Netanyahu's face and are humiliating him, well, what value is that? And then they're going to send somebody in there who's going to come in with a platform of confronting the United States or standing up for itself. And then what does that mean for this peace deal, right? If the new administration, Israel's a sovereign state. We don't control their elections. They elect a new guy who's we're not going to pay attention to anything with this Iran deal. Sorry, we're going to deal with ourselves in Lebanon. And the Iranians are well, you're breaching the ceasefire deal. We made a the whole scenario is kind of bizarre. And there's a very, very interesting, bizarre dynamic where, for so long we've heard this thing about how Israel controls the United States, Israel controls Trump. This has been the meme of all these people.
Right.
And then when it comes time to negotiate, Israel's not at the bargaining table, and everybody just assumes that it's perfectly legitimate for the United States to negotiate on Israel's behalf and then impose the terms of that agreement on Israel as a fait accompli. That would make Israel a vassal of the United States. It's not actually what they are. They're a partner. Unlike many of these other countries that can't defend themselves, people who were at this negotiating table, to be frank, like Kuwait and Bahrain, who are completely under the American security umbrella, don't have their own Air Force. Israel is a very military
during this conflict too. Kuwait and Bahrain, they've had a lot of problems during this whole episode.
I think that's really there's a separate under-discussed thing. The Hormuz, I think, honestly, was a little bit of a red herring. The real problem that we couldn't ever really solve was the short-range ballistic missile threat to the Gulf countries. We were able to solve the medium-range one to Israel. They were able to defend themselves. But if you remember, we launched that convoy project, Project Freedom, publicly.
Yes.
And Iran responded to that by hitting Gulf oil infrastructure, both in the UAE and in Kuwait. And immediately, instead of escalating against Iran, which I still think we should have done, I think we should have treated that as completely intolerable, and it should have led to an overwhelming military response. You're going to shoot at oil infrastructure, you lose your power plants. That would have been my response.
I was with you on that. I would have been right there. So you're gonna go after our allies, the Gulf allies in the region, and go after their infrastructure. Now you lose yours, right? FAFO type deal. That's where I would have been.
But Trump didn't do that. And what that indicated to me was that for some combination of Trump and the Gulf allies decided that they were not willing to deal with that particular threat. And that always meant that we were going to have to come to some sort of negotiated agreement. And it probably was going to have to involve some concessions. But I think Trump, I'm not exactly sure what happened with Trump in Lebanon and what's going on there. But I think the Israelis have, an obvious bone to pick here, which is you're not really treating us very well as an ally. And you're constantly blaming us for the fact that we have a terrorist organization on our border that is launching missiles at our civilians. And we're dealing with it. And you're telling us we can't. That's absurd. We would never tell you something like that. How dare that negotiate a different peace deal with a third party on your behalf, and that requires you to let Al Qaeda shoot missiles at you or to let Mexican cartels breach your border in El Paso and San Diego. That would be crazy. So I don't think even not knowing what the terms of the deal are, it seems the one thing that's uniformly everybody seems to be saying is there's some sort of we have imposed a broad ceasefire, including in Lebanon, and we're going to bind the Israelis to it. That's and so you're binding the Israelis to a ceasefire. The Israelis don't have access, aren't even aware of the terms of the agreement, weren't even at the negotiating table. And then you have this agreement that you're not willing to publish, and you're holding it back, and then you're getting mad at people for speculating. I think this is all kind of silly. And I'm not necessarily going to say that, I'm sympathetic to a couple of points for the administration. One, I'm sympathetic to the fact they had to make a deal, and it probably wasn't going to be the great one because they've decided that they weren't willing to tolerate the Gulf infrastructure strikes. Okay, that sucks. I think, we're still in a better position than we were at the beginning of the war because so much of the Iranian military industrial complex is gone. That's an improvement.
Yes. Right.
So we're in a better spot, but that's still not ideal. And then I'm sympathetic to the fact that they make a deal. And I'm sympathetic that maybe you have some understanding with your counterparties and with the Gulf countries that you wanted to wait until maybe the Friday signing ceremony to reveal the full contents. Okay. But don't be calling people liars when they are hearing public reporting about the deal and commenting on it. That's not cool. And it's kind of disrespectful. And I think, I think that the administration needs to kind of, stop doing that stuff. And, and then again, I'll wait to see the deal. I'll hold back. I'm not trying to judge it in advance too much, other than to say that I think that I think President Trump, when Iran said things about, you need to stop Israel from shooting in Lebanon, President Trump said, well, we don't control Israel, so you can go negotiate with the Israelis if you want, but that's not going to be part of our agreement.
Right. Well, there's some mixed messaging coming out here about that aspect of it. Is Lebanon in the deal? Is it not in the deal? Well, there was a talking points memo that the Washington Free Beacon seemed to have got a hold of from the White House. The top 5 messaging points. Number 1, Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. President Trump drew that line and enforced it when no other president would. I'd say arguably that's true. Number 2, President Trump ended the fighting on every front, including Lebanon. No forever war. The Strait of Hormuz is opened again free of charge. A fifth of the world's oil flows through it. That means relief at the pump and at the grocery store. Iran's rewards come from its own unfrozen money, not from American taxpayers, only after it performs. No nuclear weapon, no full relief. Iran earns it or gets nothing. And finally, Obama never even got a signed document. President Trump did, from strength after dismantling Iran's program. So there is a mention of Lebanon in the White House's messaging points about the MOU, and it says it ended the fighting on every front. And yet you have Ambassador Huckabee, who came out this morning with a tweet and said, fortunately, Sec Rubio made clear that Iran and Hezbollah aren't linked in a deal. Israel doesn't need Iran permission to defend itself. The tether of terror must end. So what's the truth, right? Because you have Huckabee saying one thing and the talking points memo saying the other thing. So does it mean that the United States isn't going to be involved in Lebanon? Where are we? That part of this is very sloppy. And if I were Israel, I wouldn't be happy with, the United States basically saying, all right, hey, for the sake of our deal, knock it off. Because, they're their own country, right? Who are we to tell them what to do? So they're not a colony, right? Wild.
Right. And you're negotiating, they're a sovereign state. I think it puts Israel and Netanyahu and their government in a really bizarre position where they're, and they're, obviously they feel they should be grateful for what President Trump did, and they are, I'm sure. But it makes them, again, you have to, put yourself in the Israeli shoes, or put yourself in if we were in a situation where we were facing terrorist attacks across our border anywhere, and some third party purported to negotiate, two other parties purported to negotiate a deal between themselves, and then came to us, said, oh, this means you need to stop going after the terrorists who are attacking you across your border. Like, we would just look at you like you're a lunatic. Like, no, you can't bind us to any agreement like that. We didn't, you want to make a deal. You want us to do that? You want us to forgo these strikes? You need to make a deal with us. We need to be at the table, and you need to, if we don't agree to it, then we're not going to abide by it. And, the problem is you have Iran. I saw Araghchi put out a statement that says, if there is not a full ceasefire in Lebanon and Israel does not withdraw from southern Lebanon, then that's a violation of our agreement with the United States. And it's like, basically their attitude is, we're not going to be bound by this if the United States doesn't impose and force Israel out of southern Lebanon. Like, did Trump agree to that? I'd like to know. That seems like that's a really important piece of the puzzle. And if we didn't agree to that, then clearly we were just talking past each other, and there is no memorandum. There is no real ceasefire or memorandum of understanding. And we're going to be exactly in the same place we've been, which is Iran making some faux promise to open the Strait of Hormuz, which they did months ago, and then retreating from it because they're like, well, you're not meeting our understanding of the deal. Well, it's like, we're just, Groundhog Day, like same exact thing will happen here. I don't think
Right.
President Trump is willing to go to Benjamin Netanyahu and basically by we will blow up our relationship if you don't withdraw from southern Lebanon immediately. Because what Netanyahu would do is say no, right? Like, screw you, we're not going to do that. Like, we're just not. They literally haven't stopped shooting rockets at us for a day for 3 years. We're not just withdrawing from places where they could shoot us in our windows. Like, people understand how close they are.
I mean, and that makes sense. You have people, like you said, shooting through your windows. You have an opportunity to neutralize them. You would think Israel's going to go in there and do that. I think even Trump came out and said something along the lines of how, like, if Syria would be able to handle it better and all of that. And 6 and 1/2 dozen the other. If I was Bibi Netanyahu, the whole Gaza thing, I wouldn't let that drag on for however long it went on for. But I understand, too, public perception. You can't just turn the whole thing into glass. You're going to have civilian deaths, all that. The world's turning against you. Who knows who, like you said, we got to wait until the deal is actually published in terms of what's binding, what's in it, what's not in it. Trump said at G7 today, he's going to read it word for word at a press conference. So it sounds like that transparency is coming, but until it does come, there's going to be nothing but speculation. And you are right in that Iranian media is going to get out in front of it and put out kind of their version and spin it and be the first, be the first ones out there offering what they think this deal is, which we have seen before the last 7 or 8 times we heard of a deal. And then all of a sudden, quote unquote, leaked details. And you're reading Al Jazeera, and Al Jazeera is saying, well, from Iranian sources. And they go, well, thank you for giving away that this is not to be trusted. It's the same crap. If some of these aspects of this deal are correct, in other words, the foreign funding, right, the $300 billion, this fund that's going to come from the Gulf states. How do you feel about that? That's a pretty unique kind of element here, where it's not the United States skin in the game. It's going to be the Gulf allies skin in the game. And can they be trusted to essentially, hold the puppet strings of Iran here if push comes to shove?
I mean, that's where it's one of those cases where it all depends on the terms of like, under what circumstances will the Gulf allies give $300 billion to Iran? If they've completely abandoned all their nuclear ambitions and their proxy funding and their menacing of their neighbors, I mean, I'm sure the Gulf allies would be thrilled, because then Iran would be a normal country and they'd be happy to help rebuild it. If they don't have to do those things, then it would be a disaster, because you're basically giving $300 billion to a terrorist state, and we're just gonna, they're gonna be allowed to reconstitute everything that we destroyed. Like, it would just, kind of make a mockery of the whole exercise. So totally depends on what the exact terms are of the money. I don't think I'm imposed in principle to the idea that there would be some carrots lingering at the end of a hard road of return to normalcy. What I know about Iran makes me think they're just not capable of that sort of return to normalcy. And I think, if this is the kind of thing we made, then we should have just kept the status quo. I mean, even if we weren't willing to like do ground operations and we weren't willing to escalate beyond more airstrikes, we should have just kept suffocating their economy and kept all this, just keep the pressure up, keep the sanctions, keep the blockade, keep it all in place, and keep working with our Gulf allies and others to sort of mitigate the other problems. One of the things I think, for 2 months, it felt like we were dragging our feet and willing to tolerate a lot of BS in the negotiation. And I think a big reason for that was we were starting to get our convoy operations secretly going. That was a big positive. Yes. They stopped doing Project Freedom publicly, but behind the scenes, they were working to help get oil out of the Gulf and keep oil prices down. I think they could have just kept going on that. So you have to wonder what else is at work here in terms of what other pressures Trump may be trying to accommodate, what other problems Trump might be trying to solve for other countries. I don't know. But I can't say I'm thrilled about what's happened here. And that's even without really knowing what the terms of the deal are.
Right. Just kind of the 30,000 foot view of this Iran deal. There's a lot of questions. There's obviously going to be skepticism. The main skepticism that I see is, it's not necessarily so analytical in terms of the dynamic between us and Israel. It's essentially the main comment that I'm getting is, well, you just can't trust Iran, right? You cannot trust these people. And that, how could you disagree with that? How could you argue with that? These guys, this is not a normal country. That's why they can't have a nuclear weapon.
And that's I think, why would you let, and this is the thing too, like if I were Trump and I were handling these negotiations, I would have never tolerated any of this shenanigans where their news agencies put out statements about the deal uncontradicted by their own government. I would have immediately been on the phone with say those statements get put out by some Iranian press release. I would have immediately been on the phone with Aragchi, and I would have said the deal's off right now, and a massive military strike is coming your way unless we get official denials and retractions of the statements you put out there, because we are not going to tolerate you going back on what you just signed, and we're not going to tolerate you putting out all this BS. I don't care if it's for domestic consumption. You have to be honest. And that's the basic of this is basic good faith. Like even Donald Trump, I think, put out a Truth Social where he's like, man, these people always deal in bad faith. And part of it should be because you don't force them to be acting good faith. If you had been forcing them to act in good faith, and I think making clear that any one of these type of bad faith statements leads to immediate assassinations and overwhelming air power being used against you, that would have stopped. But you let yourself be, you've sort of given them the rope to continue to act in this bad faith manner, which we shouldn't tolerate.
And I think Trump kind of alluded to kind of why, he threatened Carg Island, to take Carg Island. And he said to a reporter, I don't remember, I think it might've been on Air Force One or something, that the United States, the public does not have the stomach for something like that right now. As it was, the commencement of Operation Epic Fury had approval for 4 weeks. But if it got beyond that, people were going to start to drop off. I know a lot of people were getting frustrated with the roundabout stuff that we were dealing with. Is there a deal? Is there not a deal? We have a deal coming. We don't have a deal coming. We're getting close. We're not getting close. We're going to strike. We're not going to strike. I was sitting there going, well, I don't know what to believe. I'll wake up one morning and there'll be a deal signed. I have no idea, and I don't necessarily think that the president was lying. I just think you're dealing with a group of people who you just can't trust. These are religious fanatics. It's not a normal country. You look at a place like North Korea, Kim Jong-un's a nut job. But he's a nut job that respects the idea of mutually assured destruction. Iran doesn't. If they're going to go out, they're going to take a bunch of people with them. And they're okay with that because they're promised some sort of, 72 virgins or something. And they're all excited. That's where they're going. So it's that's the type of people you're dealing with there versus even the USSR. Mutually assured destruction back during the Cold War is what prevented a lot of, the worst things from happening. Iran doesn't care about that. That's why they can't have a nuke. And the last thing I'll say, look at what they did with the Strait of Hormuz, and everyone's upset about gas prices and the leverage that they seem to have had in limited capacity because of the covert operations, the convoy operations that we were escorting ships through the Strait secretly. Could you imagine the leverage? You could undo that. You can create new trade routes. You could find a solution to move that 20% of the world's oil that's going through there. You could find a different place to move it and render that nearly irrelevant. There is no going back from a nuclearized Iran. Once they have a nuke, everyone has to do what they say because everyone knows they'll use it. It's not a bluff, right? So we'll wrap up this first segment, but your thoughts on that and what you think we could look forward to. Let's say this deal, does get signed. What we could look forward to in the future, and then we'll jump into something else Iran related on the other side.
Yeah. I mean, I always thought that the way that Iran conducted itself during the war proved why they can't have a nuke. They were just flinging missiles in every direction. They just don't care about their people. They just, they're not a normal country, as you say, and they can't be trusted to obey normal rules of war. I mean, really, they've been a completely abnormal country from their foundation. Remember, the very first thing they did in terms of international affairs was invade our embassy and take 100 of our people hostage. And it's basically the same people who are still in charge. It's like the young college students who did that, who are now at the senior levels of the IRGC 50 years later. So it's been a weird country the entire time that we've been dealing with them. And it's, the idea that they could let to have a nuke and that there wouldn't be really huge negative consequences from that is just silly. I think President Trump was right. Obviously, he had to do what he did in terms of striking and Operation Epic Fury. But you have to realize that, that makes making a peace deal very challenging.
It certainly does. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back and, There's another talking point out there regarding this deal that Donald Trump let the Iranian people down. We're going to look at that and a statement or a sentiment that's been pushed by a dissident group in Iran that is in favor of this peace agreement. So we'll do that on the other side of this break. Will Chamberlain, Shawn Farash on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT 855-839-1210. Stay right there. We're back after this.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. The big day is almost here. Dom Giordano Day in Wildwood this Friday, noon until 3 at Mulligan's, 310 West Hildreth Avenue in Wildwood. We'll be joined by Jeff Van Drew, Monte McCoy, The Great Shore Debate with Linda Kearns, and the vote. Do you fold your pizza? Stop by, have a great lunch, even stay for dinner. Be on the show. It all happens this Friday, noon until 3 at Mulligan's, 310 West Childress Avenue in Wildwood.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
What's up? It's Draymond Green. I'm back for my 14th NBA season, and my podcast, The Draymond Green Show, is back too. This season, I'm breaking down games, reacting to the biggest NBA stories, and sitting down with teammates, rivals, and culture shapers. And trust me, I'm not holding back, on the court or on the mic. 2 new episodes every week, new segments, big conversations, real basketball talk for the real hoop heads. Listen to and follow The Draymond Green Show wherever you get your podcasts. We're back, we're better, let's get it.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Wesley Financial.
There's a short list of trillion-dollar companies, and NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang thinks Marvel Technology could join that prestigious club. Huang told a trade conference that Marvel is poised to take advantage of the next phase of AI infrastructure growth, which could lead to a trillion-dollar valuation. Marvel has a new AI chip that it says is 25% more power efficient than rival data center chips. I'm Jason Brooks.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
You don't need another opinion, just the facts.
What caused that crash on the Schuylkill? Will it rain before the kids' game? What happened at the school board meeting last night?
At KYW News Radio, we don't take sides. We take notes, delivering the information you need to make the best decisions for your family.
The news you need whenever you need it.
Depend on KYW News Radio, Philadelphia's most trusted news leader for more than 60 years.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to My Computer Career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Retirement can be scary, but only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created thisispretirement.org. Because unless you've already retired, you're in pretirement, and you still have time to plan. Learn about retirement savings options, potential tax breaks, and how you can build savings over time. Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan and feel the retirement fear disappear. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Tune in to the Crash Proof Retirement Show Saturdays at 11 a.m. to hear Joanne Small-Canella and Tracy Stillman. The Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturday mornings at 11 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Weather sponsored by Kitchen Magic.
We'll get down to the low 60s overnight. Tomorrow early, we'll have some clouds and then some sunshine in the afternoon. Later on in the day, maybe a thunderstorm, gusty winds possible too. Thursday, warmer, high 91, maybe even a thunderstorm in the afternoon with some very heavy rain. Friday, high 82.
Make this summer the one you finally love your kitchen. Dawn Stensland here. Kitchen Magic, family owned in Nazareth since 1979. Offering 40% off installation and flexible financing. Visit kitchenmagic.com today. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Now back to the Piazza Auto Group Studios. Experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. This is Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
It is 3:38 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Shawn Farash here on the afternoon show, joined by the great Will Chamberlain of the Article 3 Project. Doing a great job. Fantastic job, I have to say that. He does a phenomenal job on Piers. You look at Piers Morgan. I could call him a stupid person. Will won't say that because he wants to go back. It was every time, Will, you're on that show. Every time. I'm like, I got to watch. I don't watch it any other time. I swear. I see a clip come up. I'm like, I'm going to watch Will Chamberlain just demolish somebody.
That's right.
And people go, "Oh, Will, so stupid." I said, "Will, no, I don't think so. You can't refute the point. It's great. It really is. It's fun. So keep doing that. Don't ever get removed from that. They may not have you back, but keep doing that. It's a lot of fun. So I want to get into this talking point, or this idea here. The National Council of Resistance of Iran, the NCRI, on Monday, yesterday, welcomed the emerging of this peace deal, saying that it would be, quote unquote, poison for the regime to have a period of no war. And apparently that comes from former Ayatollah Khomeini, the first one, not Khamenei, the one that we just blew up a couple months ago, but the first guy. Said that the ceasefire would be poison for the regime, but also mentioned something very interesting, that the overthrow of the regime is the responsibility of the Iranian people and their organized resistance. So there are several groups, obviously, that are going to be competing for power if the regime falls, and it may or it may not. This NCRI seems to not be a fan of the former Shah. But the notice or the memo that they put out, this woman put out, Miss Maryam Rajavi, mentioned that the overthrow of the regime was the duty of the Iranian people. And I've seen this idea floating around on social media, that President Trump betrayed the Iranian people because he said that help was on the way and he didn't take care of the regime. My bone of contention with that thought process is help came. Like, we dropped a lot of bombs on the regime. We degraded their military. We degraded their missiles program. Their navy's at the bottom of the ocean. I think you said on this show once that, we have the top, we share the ocean. They've got the top half. We've got the top half. They have the bottom half. Did Donald Trump really betray the Iranian people, or was there just no uprising because the weapons never got there, or they're afraid to rise up against this behemoth that has been keeping them oppressed for over 5 decades, almost 5 decades?
I think that's a ridiculous claim. I mean, the idea that we betrayed them, we betrayed the Iranian people. I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, you're lucky. There's plenty of dictatorships in the world that we are not obligated to topple. It's not our job. Yeah. Ultimately, we may decide it is in our interest to hurt your government and to try, hope that something different replaces it. But there's a weird entitlement in that statement. Like, oh, because Trump made these promises about, we think that, we are going to do so much damage to the regime, it'll be yours to take. Like, I think that's a war aim, but he made clear that was not the goal of the war, like, even from the beginning. And I think if you read between the lines, we said, like, we'd like to have regime change, but we're not promising it. And it's ultimately on the Iranians. Like, how much is, we struck 10,000 targets inside Iran. We put a full naval blockade in place. We've been squeezing them for months. We did enormous damage to their leadership and their infrastructure and, their military industrial base. And even the Israelis were going after the besieged. It's like, if you guys can't get your act together and do something here, then you can't, or you won't. And we're not going to sit around. Like, we're not going to invade your country and install a new government. We're just not going to do that. We tried that 20 years ago. It didn't work very well. American people aren't sufficiently invested in this, in a country halfway around the world and how it governs itself, to do that. So I don't, at a certain point, I really despise the Iranian regime, and I would have liked to see that happen, but I won't hear anything from sort of like Iranian dissidents that we owe it to them. Like, no, we don't. We're nice enough to do this in the first instance. You weren't entitled to us doing anything. We're doing this from our own perspective, our own interests.
Right. Now, this group, the NCRI, is not the one who is saying this, but there are folks on social media who are pushing this idea that, Donald Trump said that help was on the way and the regime is still in place. And I'm like, did you miss Epic Fury? Did we miss the endless barrage of bombs that did, like, to act like the United States did nothing here, and to act like the United States did not, quote unquote, send help? Because when Trump said help was on the way, this was after those protests took to the streets. They started they killed, I think, 50,000 protesters, something of that number. It's a massive number of protesters that were slaughtered by the regime. And, Trump says help is on the way, and then help shows up. All right, period. End of story. Help shows up in the form of these military strikes. And then, as you mentioned, in the form of the blockade. And I understand that, while the United States was dropping bombs on targets across the country, yeah, you're probably not going to organize and rise up and mobilize in the streets because you don't want to be a victim of the bombs that are falling. But we had as I call it, the 10-week, 2-week ceasefire, right, where there were no bombs falling and there was still nothing. Now, I'm not saying that the Iranians, the people there, the Persians, whatever you want to call them, don't have courage and they don't have something to fear. Of course, there's something to fear. You've seen how the regime treats their protesters. But this idea that Donald Trump betrayed the Iranian people, I think it's ridiculous. I think you nailed it when you called it a sense of entitlement. It is not our job to remove the regime for them. And had that been a byproduct of this, maybe, look, I would be happy to see that regime out of power. But my question to you, Will, is if that did happen, now you have a power vacuum. Who assumes control of the country? Do we get somebody better? Do we get somebody worse? Is the Shah coming back? Shah Pahlavi? From what you know about this, you know a lot about this conflict. Who do you think it would be that seizes power in Iran? Is it the IRGC? Do they get wiped out and somebody else replace them? What happens?
I don't know. I mean, it's really a black box. One of the things Iran did that, and this is actually, the one white pill out of this is Iran's still got to figure out how to govern its own country after this. And remember, they kicked their people off the internet for 90 days. That's a crazy thing for any modern nation to do. Like, think about how much you use the internet for just every day, every hour of every day. You're checking your phone, you're using it to get directions, you're using it to, follow the news, entertain yourself, everything. You use the internet for so much. And Iran was like, 90 million people don't get to use the internet for the next 3 months. That's a crazy thing to have done. I'd be furious at my own government. It would be, it would get me in a revolutionary mood. So, there's a lot, these people are crazy. And I mean, there's a lot that President Trump did here that I think people should be grateful for.
I think so, too. And while we may not have a perfect deal being signed on Friday, and there's obviously going to be things that we'll be able to look at, criticize. There'll probably be good things and some things that aren't so good that maybe would have done differently. Ultimately, I think the overall mood of the country, right, who isn't necessarily interested in geopolitics, I think the country is going to be appreciative that this conflict's going to end, and we probably are going to do something in Cuba next. But I think
that might be it.
Secretary Rubio he's got a little bit of skin in the game there, considering his family history. I think there are a bunch of Latinos in Florida who may appreciate that too, just like you saw the Venezuelans in the United States who were very happy with Maduro being arrested, and now he's in custody here. But I think the overall mood of the country is that they wanted this to end. Gas prices are now going to start to come back down. And I think overall going into the midterms, this may now that it's wrapped up, and it isn't going to be a forever, unless something changes, which it could with Iran. I think overall the mood in the country will improve surrounding this conflict. And for the president and his electoral chances in the midterms, I think that's a positive. We're going to come back on the other side here. I got to ask you a couple questions about this Freedom 250 event. I'm not sure if you watched it. But there's been a couple of things that came of it. Number one, that FBI terror plot that they foiled. But number two, there's been a little controversy. And, some people get a little butthurt about a few comments that were made. Love to get your thoughts on that when we come back on the other side of the break. 855-839-1210, Shawn Farash and Will Chamberlain here to wrap up this 3 p.m. hour on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Stay right there.
Summer is here, and that means pool days and patio nights. But is your uneven concrete making your backyard feel more like a construction zone than a vacation spot? Stop worrying about stubbed toes and stumbles. Keystone Guncrete can level your pool deck and patio quickly and cleanly, saving you thousands over the cost of pouring new concrete. We'll have your backyard party ready before your water even gets warm. Head to KeystoneGuncrete.com. Remember, Guncrete is spelled with a K. Mention 1210 and we'll take $50 off your project.
This is the energy of the Acura Integra. The energy of speed. With available Type S 320 horsepower VTEC turbo engine. And the energy of control. With available 6-speed manual transmission. The Acura Integra. This is the energy of innovation. Acura. Precision crafted performance.
Visit Piazza Acura of Ardmore, Reading, or Westchester for a test drive today.
By texting 64000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Real Success. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at ourrealsuccess.com.
Do you want to learn how to make money flipping houses and acquiring rental properties right here in Philadelphia without using your own money? You'll learn to flip houses and secure rental properties in your spare time to get on track towards real wealth building. We're offering a handful of motivated individuals the opportunity to attend our workshop right here in Philadelphia for free. That's right, we'll give you 2 free tickets when you text INVEST to 64,000. Philadelphia is the perfect market to flip houses and build rental income. Don't miss this opportunity. Come to a complimentary live 2-hour workshop this week right here in Philadelphia and learn how to start making money flipping homes and building long-term wealth with rental properties. To get 2 free tickets, text INVEST to 64,000. Text in the next 10 minutes, and registrants will also receive a free copy of our Funding for Deals guide. Text INVEST to 64,000 for 2 complimentary tickets. Text INVEST to 64,000.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy. Pretty much hands off, They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief. The best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
See website for details. BillsHappen.com is not a lender. It does not make credit decisions. Must be 18 years old. Not available in all states.
Honey, everything is so expensive, and our bills are piling up.
You're telling me credit cards are maxed out, rent is due, and the car payment's right around the corner? We need some extra cash.
We should do what my friend from work did. She went to BillsHappen.com and got the money she needed the next day.
Our credit is not great. Are you sure that would work for us?
BillsHappen.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with all credit types get up to $5,000.
Sounds like it's going to be a hassle.
My friend said it was super easy. She did it right from her phone during her lunch break.
If you have a regular source of income, you can be approved for a loan for up to $5,000, and your cash can hit your bank account the next day. BillsHappen.com's lenders have millions of dollars to lend, regardless of your credit history.
Guess what? I went to BillsHappen.com, and we're getting our money tomorrow.
Wow, that's fast. Problem solved.
If you need extra cash, go to BillsHappen.com. That's BillsHappen.com. BillsHappen.com.
Now you can listen to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the iHeartRadio app.
3:52 p.m. here as we wrap up the first hour on the afternoon show. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Shawn Farash with you. Will Chamberlain joined us the full hour. Very grateful for that. Your insights and expertise on the issues surrounding Iran. Like I said, we were doing shows here before the whole thing started, periodically, doing them again. I want to pivot real quick as we wrap up this hour. The Freedom 250 event, I'm not sure if you watched it. I didn't watch any of it, the UFC stuff. I was watching hockey. The Stanley Cup finals were on. Not a fan of any teams in there, but I love hockey. Got really into it this year, so I didn't see it. But this fighter who made the joke about Michelle Obama, this guy, whatever. Is that the right place for it? Maybe it's not the right place for it. Fine. But the pearl clutching, Will. over this. And this is apparently this fighter. I don't know this guy. I just heard of him, but apparently this is what he does when he wins. At the end of his fights, he like says wild stuff on the microphone. So he did that. And people are out there. Dave Portnoy is out saying, Donald Trump must denounce this. He must disavow those comments. And I'm like, I don't think he must do anything. This guy got called a Nazi, got called Hitler. Supporters are being hunted. Folks are being targeted. After everything that right-wingers or conservatives or liberty lovers or whatever, you expect me to apologize for something that somebody else said at the end of a UFC fight when he's like a shock jock type of thing? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's ridiculous. I mean, I remember I was actually watching that fight and watching that when it happened. And I mean, the Michelle Obama statement was funny, but it's also like, hey, he was actually like letting off obscenities and stuff. And I'm kind of like, you're at the White House, man. I think this is the one time at a UFC fight to kind of lay off the obscenity and be a little more upstanding and polished. I know it's UFC, but like, come on. That said, nobody else is responsible for what some fighter says in the ring. And he's not a politician. He's doesn't hold office. He's barely, I don't know, he might not even be a supporter. Who knows if he's even voted for Trump? Like, it's the idea that Trump needs to take responsibility for every word uttered on the grounds is absurd.
It's crazy. And so, and look back at the previous administration, how two wrongs don't make a right, but you had the topless lesbians who were dancing. You had, there was the rumor that Joe Biden, dropped the deuce in front of the Pope. Okay, it's a rumor, but we call that Operation Tootsie Roll. You're not supposed to do that, right? It's the first time the Pope has ever said, holy sugar, honey, iced tea. You're not supposed to do that. There was cocaine in the White House, Will. But we're upset about a Michelle Obama joke. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
Where are we?
I can't take these people seriously. And I mean, they basically everything at this point, they're just ninnies, right? Like they just oppose everything Trump does, even when it's stuff like he's doing the reflecting pool, like, resealing it. They're like, oh, that costs so much money. That costs so much money. Why would you want our monuments to look good? Why do you have monuments in the first place? You have monuments so that people can look at them. Right? Like, and if they're ugly,
nobody wants to look at an ugly monument.
Point of having the monument in the first place.
Yeah, and nobody wants to look at an ugly monument. That's why there are no ugly monuments. That's why there are no monuments of me anywhere. Right? That's why. So,
right. We turn every monument in DC into like Section 8 housing. Like, what do these people want?
And if Trump did that, actually, they would say it's the wrong thing to do. Yeah,
right.
They're going to oppose him at every turn. It's out of control. It's completely ridiculous. Trump derangement syndrome governs their lives. This is why, in August of last year, I just decided, you know what? I'm going to make a bit of Donald Trump endorsing oxygen, because it's like, what? Because they're going to hold their breath. Don't shower with your toasters. You're going to have a bunch of liberals frying themselves. This is what they do. So now it's celebrate the 250th birthday of our country. And you have people saying bad, the UFC, the Weather Channel was predicting massive bug swarms and apocalyptic hell. And I was like, would you just give it a rest? Could you give it a rest?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to wrap up this hour, but Will, tell everybody where they can find you. When are you on Piers next so I can mark it on my calendar? If you don't know, that's okay. And what can everybody do? Article 3 Project, Internet Accountability Project, at Will Chamberlain on X. Let everyone know where to follow you.
At Will Chamberlain on X. You can follow Article 3 Project at A3P Action. I don't know. The Piers thing, it just kind of depends. They DM me when they need me. And they're having me on pretty often nowadays. Like I'm usually on every couple weeks or so, which is a pretty rapid cadence for having me on. Apparently they like having me on as a heel because most of their audience hates me. So it's great. But I'll let you know next time I'm on.
Yeah, all publicity is good publicity. It's been a wild month, by the way. Happy 4 weeks since our least favorite congressman got smoked in his primary in Kentucky's 4th congressional district.
Bye-bye, Thomas Massey. Remember him? Remember Thomas Massey? Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Thomas Massey. You're a loser. You suck. You lost by 10 points. And maybe next time you run for office, don't make the race about a foreign country. Make it about the people you're supposed to represent. I think that's the lesson that everybody can learn. Will Chamberlain, thank you so much for joining us. I hope to do it again soon.
Yep. See you later.
All right, that's Will Chamberlain here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always great to have Will on. We're going to be back when we kick off the second hour. I've got a story at the end of the second hour that is going to make you guys go crazy. Remember when we talked about the kangaroo that got loose in Texas? And that caused me to do a little digging. It's actually legal in the state of Texas to own a kangaroo without a permit. I can't believe it. Well, there's another kangaroo on the loose, but it's not in Texas. And this is hilarious. End of hour 2, we'll talk about that. Have the Democrats peaked ahead of the 2026 midterms? We're going to do all that in this next hour. And by the way, stick around for the drive at 5 because I got a little moment that you and I are going to have, Philly. We're going to have a moment together. I wrote this out last night. I rarely write out these full things. Usually just bullet points and I roll from there. But I've got something written and I'm excited to share this with you in the drive at 5 in that third hour. Coming back to kick off hour 2, 855-839-1210 if you want to chime in. Shawn Farash here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. We're back after this.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Low testosterone doesn't just affect libido. It can quietly drain energy, endurance, and confidence before most men realize what's happening. You start feeling it everywhere, in the gym, on the stairs, even how you move through the day. That's why Rescue created 2 powerful formulas for ultimate male vitality, both available this Men's Health Month as buy one, get 2 more completely free. Prime RX promotes healthy testosterone levels, stamina, strength, and focus, while ActiFlex supports flexible joints and muscle recovery so movement and performance feel natural again. Go to res-q.com, use the code FEELSTRONG to buy 1 bottle of Prime RX or ActiFlex and get 2 more completely free. Or call a product consultant, 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Move stronger, recover faster, shop online, and get 2 free bottles at res-q.com. Use that code Feel Strong.
Father's Day is here. Skip the usual tie and give him something he'll truly remember. Find the perfect gift at Family & Company Jewelers on Route 70 in Marlton, New Jersey. Right now, save 20% on Movado watches through June 22nd. The perfect time to give Dad a gift he'll wear and appreciate for years to come. This Father's Day, give him a gift that stands out. Give him something special from Family & Company Jewelers. Visit JR in Marlton or shop online at FamilyJewelers.com.
You matter, and so does your well-being. If you're facing tough moments, struggling with anxiety, depression, thoughts of suicide, or substance use, help is here anytime you need it. Call, text, or chat 988 for free confidential support. New Jersey's 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is here 24/7 for you or someone you love, with trained counselors who listen and care without judgment. You matter. Remember New Jersey's 988. A message from the New Jersey Department of Human Services.
See Joe Conklin at Parks Casino at the City Rhythm Orchestra Thursday, June 18th in a Salute to Summer concert. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. JoeConklin.com!
Criticism of FBI Director Kash Patel, who announced the first arrests online. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
New questions surrounding the memo of understanding between the U.S. and Iran. President Trump at the G7 summit in France says the memo will be signed Friday. The terms, though, have not been made public. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer demanding the president privately brief the Gang of 8 lawmakers and the public. Majority Leader John Thune today says he's confident the president is on the right path, but also says he and members of Congress need more information.
I think we're all hoping to get more information, more detail about that. I expect that'll be forthcoming.
It's primary day across 4 states, along with Washington, D.C., where voters are casting ballots in the mayoral race in D.C. and California primary races for the U.S. House seats are taking place. More than 30 years after his killing spree began, Gilgo Beach serial killer Rex Heuermann is set to be sentenced tomorrow for the strangulation deaths of women whose bodies were buried on Long Island. The 62-year-old pleaded guilty to the murders of 8 women, the majority of them sex workers. The terms of his plea plea agreement require him to spend the rest of his life in state prison without the possibility of parole. Huerman also agreed to be interviewed by the FBI's behavioral unit. You're listening to ABC News.
Hot summer days and high energy bills are on the way. Upgrade your home's old leaky windows this month during Window Nation's Buy 4 Get 4 free sale. Yes, half of your new beautiful energy efficient windows free. Plus no money down and no monthly payments or interest for 2 years. Call now 866-200-8670 or windownation.com. In select markets, trust our family of brands, New South Window and ArmorView. That's 866-200-8670 or windownation.com to book a consultation.
I've been telling you all about the Secret War on our cash and the free report you can receive a copy of by contacting Swiss America at 800-289-2646. I'd also like to encourage you to subscribe to their podcast on YouTube. Just search Swiss America Trading. The podcast can provide you a ton of vital information and financial news in the challenging and uncertain times we're in. Subscribe today. Learn more about BRICS, industry leaders, and their market predictions for the future, along with what you might expect to see in terms of precious metal performance in the weeks and months ahead. Message and data rates may apply.
In Southern California, fire crews are battling a wildfire in Riverside County during a week of triple-digit temperatures. The Shore Fire has charred at least 2,600 acres so far. ABC's Alex Stone is along the fire line.
They've got about 25%, about quarter of this fire contained. Still, there are evacuation orders that are in place around here, but firefighters are telling us that they feel like they've made a lot of progress, that they are letting it burn up in the hills. They did what they call backfire operations, where fire meets fire, which actually helps fight the fire because it burns up land for the fire to come down on. They were doing that all night, overnight.
California's Governor Gavin Newsom says he's being targeted by the Justice Department, saying he and his wife are the latest political enemies of President Trump to be investigated. Newsom says his office is requesting all public information referencing himself and his wife in DOJ documents.
We've seen him issue statements. His office held a background call with reporters to dispute various legal theories that they say are being cooked up by this DOJ to pursue him and his wife. Now, we understand through sources here at the Justice Department that prosecutors in the Eastern District of California are examining Newsom's wife's taxes related to a nonprofit that she was involved with previously. And basically, there's no indication that they are at an imminent indictment of him or his wife. It's really unclear where this stands.
ABC's Alex Mallon reporting. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Hot summer days and high energy bills are on the way. Upgrade your home's old leaky windows this month during Window Nation's Buy 4 Get 4 free sale. Yes, half of your new beautiful energy efficient windows free. Plus no money down and no monthly payments or interest for 2 years. Call now 866-200-8670 or windownation.com. In select markets, trust our family of brands, New South Window and ArmorView. That's 866-200-8670 or windownation.com to book a consultation.
Heart disease and stroke can be catastrophic. They're leading causes of death, disability, and healthcare spending in the U.S., yet they're largely preventable. Alarmingly, heart disease and stroke are taking a toll on middle-aged adults 35 to 64, with over 800,000 deaths and hospitalizations in 2016. Million Hearts is a national initiative focused on preventing 1 million heart attacks, strokes, and other cardiovascular events by 2022. Coordinated actions by Million Hearts partners in communities, healthcare, and public health will keep people healthy, optimize care, and improve outcomes in populations at risk. Everyone has a part to play. Focus on the ABCs of heart health. A. Aspirin use when appropriate. B. Blood pressure control. C. Cholesterol management. And S. Smoking cessation. To learn more, visit cdc.gov/vital signs.
WPHT, WPHT, HD, WOGL, HD3, Philadelphia. From the Piazza Auto Group Studios, experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Free speech lives here. Lives here. The WPHT Afternoon Show.
It is 4:07 p.m., second hour here on the WPHT Afternoon Show. Shawn Farash with you until 6 o'clock. Be a good day today to have a little bit of fun at the Democrats' expense. Or at least we'll talk a little bit about where they're at. You know, all I keep hearing about is a blue wave, a blue wave, a blue wave, a blue wave. Well, you know me. Those of you who watch my show on rumble.com/LFA-TV, Ungoverned at 10 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. We talk about data all the time. Listen, polling is not a perfect science. I will never claim that it is. I use it as a tool. For those of you who listen to the incredible Dan Bongino show, I use it as Joe Kent says, it's a data point, right? It's a data point. I use it as a tool. I use a lot of things that we can't rely on as a tool, like Google. Right? Google. That's the mayor of Eric Adams. He's not saying Google. He's trying to say Google, but Google. Yeah. Wild. I use polling as a way to track sentiment, as a way to get the pulse of what the people are thinking in the country and where things are moving and in what direction. And I've been watching this one pretty closely because we are in a midterm year. It is 2026. We have midterm elections in about 4.5 months. And I've been watching this one pretty closely, the generic ballot polling ahead of the 2026 midterms. As you know, every 2 years, all 435 representatives in the House of Representatives have their seats up for re-election if they choose to run or whatever, right? They're all up every 2 years. So they're always constantly campaigning. Senate's every 6 years, and you have a batch of senators this year who are up, and you have all of the entire House of Representatives is up. Their seats are up for grabs this year. You had redistricting, which obviously played a big role in shaping where some of those seats can go. And they do this, polling firms will do what's called a generic ballot. So they'll poll the whole country. They'll do a sample size of what they think, is going to, what they believe the sample is going to look like throughout the 2026 election. I would say election day, but that doesn't exist anymore. It's now election season, especially in California, where they just, I don't know if they've fully certified the 2024 vote yet. Right? Maybe they have, but I wouldn't be shocked if they didn't. But the bottom line is the polling firms will do what's called a generic ballot question. And they just basically ask, will you, Shawn Farash, vote for the Republican or the Democrat in the 2026 midterm elections? And I say Republican every single time because I will never vote Democrat. And it's Republican, Democrat, or other. I guess they give you some other choices because sometimes there's a third party on the ballot. Well, in a wave year, what you generally see is the party who is not in power, in this case, the Democrats, they build a rather large lead heading into the midterms. And then every election, you see it right before the election, the polls start to tighten just a little bit, right? Well, the Democrats have not necessarily seen their lead grow ahead of the 2026 midterms. And you can't ignore these trends anymore. When I brought up these polls back in February and March and into April, people said, but Shawn, it's still early. It's still early. And now there's this Iran war. And you'll see Democrats are going to run away on the generic ballot because of the Iran war. Folks, I'm here to tell you, I'm not telling you anything's in the bag. I'm not telling you to get complacent. I'm not telling you to get comfortable. This is not the time to put your feet up. But this is the time to look at this and opposite, right? Motivate yourself. Understand that these midterms are winnable. Let's get cut 5 ready. Harry Enton over at CNN. He's a data guy. He's a numbers guy. He apparently looks like he drinks a lot of coffee because he's always bouncing around the screen. I like the guy. He makes numbers fun. Numbers are usually not fun. I wish I could make numbers fun. He makes numbers fun. Here's what Harry Enton had to say about where the Democrats are right now versus where they were in previous wave years. Cut 5, go.
I think the warning sign is this: Democrats have an edge, but compared to what we see historically, it's really not that big of a lead. I mean, just take a look here. Okay, this is Congress National June polls, Dem leads, and this is NBC News, midterm years with the GOP press. Look at this. They're up by 5 points, but that's half the lead they had back in 2018 when it was 10 points, and less than half the lead they had back in 2006 with 11 points when Democrats took back the House in both of those years. And now the Democratic lead is on a single hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. And it's this type of lead where you say, you know what, Democrats are ahead, but don't count your chickens just quite yet.
And Harry, we've been talking about this. As time goes on, you and I have kept on looking at these numbers saying it just doesn't look like the numbers we've seen when there have been waves for Democrats in the past. What are the trends in the other polls?
Yeah, okay, so this is not just one poll in which we are seeing this. There is this group of pollsters that are out there that are just not showing the wave you might expect given where the president's approval rating is. Okay, what are we talking about? We're talking about NBC, Marquette University Law School, in Ipsos. Look at where they were January and February, and look at where they are May and June. NBC, down a point. MU Law, down 3 points. Ipsos, basically staying the same. So the Democrats hold these leads, but again, you have this group of pollsters that are out there where this lead, simply put, is not matching what you might expect if you're expecting a Democratic wave.
So you look at this polling, and again, it is not a perfect science. This is, I'm not telling you that you should start going on to Polymarket or Kalshi and making wagers. What I'm saying is, when you compare this slate of polling at this time in the year, it is not nearly as robust in favor of Democrats as it was in previous wave years, namely 2018. At this time in 2018, the Democrats had a 10-point lead on the generic ballot. 10 points. There is, now to be fair, there is one poll from a pretty good pollster that does have the Democrats up 10, and that was a poll that was done in the first week of June by Emerson that found the Democrats leading 50-40. That is the only poll in the last month plus that has the Democrats leading by that many points. The only one. Rasmussen, Democrats +6. Marquette, MU Law, Democrats +1. Big data poll, that's Rich Barris. Nothing against the guy. I don't know him personally. I never had a problem with him. He has been on some sort of TDS-fueled rage. And, he went on he had Massey winning in Kentucky's 4th congressional district over the course of like a month and a half. His poll went from like Massey +8 to dead even, and it wound up being, he wound up missing by a lot. Okay, which is fine. Everyone's entitled to a miss. Big data poll found that in the end of May, Democrats were up 13 in the generic ballot. Nobody else is finding this though. TIPP, end of May, Democrats up 5. Forbes Harris X, Democrats up 1. Harvard Harris, Democrats +4. Financial Times, Democrats +5. Quantis Insights, who nailed the Kentucky 4 primary, Dems +5. Signal, Dems +5. NBC News, Dems +5. RMG Research, Dems +4. Morning Consult, Dems +4. Reuters Ipsos, Dems +3. Economist and YouGov, which is the most recent poll, Dems +2. That's not what you're looking for. If you're a Democrat, that is not what you want to see. At all. At all. If you remember, this happened in 2022 to the Republicans. Right around this time in 2022, I can go and find this on Real Clear Politics. Right around this time in 2022, Republicans had a very thin lead. Let's see, we are June 16th. So on June 16th, 2022, Republicans had a 3-point lead in the generic ballot on Real Clear Politics. The Democrats right now, June 16th, 2026, midterm, Democrats have a 5-point lead on the generic ballot. So in each other's orbit here. Folks, what I'm telling you is these midterm elections are winnable because the people that the Democrats are putting on these ballots are out of control. They may be very effective at winning, let's say, a primary election in a deep blue area, or a general election or mayoral election in a deep blue area, a Mamdani, a Katie Wilson, a Hamawi in New Jersey, right? But when most politics now, especially midterm elections, are going to be talked about at the national level, this is exposing how insane the Democrats actually are. Just for example, and I forgot to pull this cut, but I'll allude to it. You had Democrat representatives being asked, listen, you know how I feel. You know how I feel about soccer, right? You know how I feel. I'm not into it. It's not my favorite thing. It never has been. It never will be. It's not. The Japanese fans are great. They were cleaning up their garbage. But I could, if soccer went away forever, I would not lose not even a wink of sleep. I seriously don't care. That being said, in the World Cup, go Team USA, right? Go Team USA. I'm not going to root for our men to fail just because I don't like the sport that they play. I want them to win. They beat Paraguay, 4-1. Great. Wonderful. A wonderful way to start the tournament. And I hope they continue to have success. Not hard for me to say. I don't like soccer, but 4 years ago, I think it was every 4 years they do this World Cup gimmick. 4 years ago, they did the same thing, and the United States didn't do too well, and Joe Biden was the president, and I still wanted our guys to win. Okay? You got this Representative Adriano Espaillat and Darializa Chevalier, two Democrats. They were asked, who are you rooting for to win the World Cup? Adriano Espaillat said Mexico, and Darializa Chevalier said Senegal. You're United States politicians, and you're not rooting for the United States? And you think this is going to play well when we're celebrating America's 250th birthday? And we used to be a country where right, left, up, down, north, south, east, west, wherever you may fall, at the end of the day, you were proud to be American. Not anymore. Something like 36% of self-identifying Democrats say they're proud to be American. Listen, when Joe Biden was the president, he was crapping in front of the Pope and he was falling up and down the stairs and he had the topless lesbians dancing on the Great Lawn of the White House and the cocaine and the Chinese spy balloon and the Afghanistan withdrawal and all the targeting that went on, the weaponization of government. I wasn't proud of what my government was doing. But I was still proud to be an American. I was still proud and thankful for the blessing that I was born in the greatest country that has ever existed. I was still proud to live in the last bastion of liberty and freedom on this rock we call Earth. I was still proud of the men and women who sign on the dotted line to defend our country. I'm still proud to be an American no matter who the president is, whether it's Barack Obama, whether it's Donald Trump, whether it's George Bush, whether it's Joe Biden, even if we're at, and heaven forbid this does not happen, President AOC, I will not like the way she governs, but I will be proud to be American because we know what being American actually means. You have these Democrat candidates that are out of control. For example, in Texas, James Talafrico, right? God is non-binary. Not a good message to run on in Texas. And the whole vegan thing and all that. Graham Plattner. Nazi tattoo. Oh, it's just a skull and cross. No, it's not just a skull and crossbones. It's not the Jolly Roger. It's a Totenkopf, okay? And he knew it was a Nazi tattoo when he got it, and he bragged about it. That's the guy you want to win your Senate seat in Maine, to flip it from Susan Collins, who, say what you want about her, she's not my favorite person. But she's been there for 10,000 straight votes. Say what you want. I wish of those 10,000 votes that she's made, those 10,000 consecutive votes, I wish that she'd, maybe advanced a better agenda here or there. That being said, she is a Republican senator in a Democrat state of Maine. So, at least she could fall back on the excuse that, hey, I'm just representing my constituents. This is what they want me to do. Fine, you're a public servant. Fair. Totally fair. You're going to try and replace the person who's made 10,000 consecutive votes with a Nazi tattoo guy? Who, there are now stories about him honking his hedgehog in a porta potty, talking about it. And all these allegations with the women and the conduct. And every time he opens his mouth, he says something stupid. And every week or so, something else comes out about this guy. You could not, it's about the policies, It's about the policies. You could not find another socialist to take that position that didn't have a Nazi tattoo and wasn't a quote unquote oyster farmer. And we know what oysters he's farming. All I'm saying here, Democrat Party has completely, they've put themselves in a corner. Trump has done it too. In the name of Trump derangement syndrome, they're just leaning on we're not Trump and we're going to fight Trump and you couldn't find someone without a Nazi tattoo to fight Trump, huh? Listen, you know where we are right now in the polling. Polling isn't perfect, but it is data. And we can formulate a plan based off of what that data is saying. And that data is telling us that the Iran war did not cause an issue on the generic ballot negatively. And now that appears to be wrapping up, anything can happen. You heard Will Chamberlain, we're skeptical of some of the elements of this deal as well. That appears to be wrapping up. The Strait of Hormuz opens, folks, what happens to gas prices? They start to come down, right? That Strait of Hormuz opens, gas prices start to come back down. Americans with their, with our very short attention span. It's a very short attention span that we have. We're upset that gas rocketed up. We're now $1 or so here in Tennessee above where it was before the war started. If this comes down another, let's say, 50 cents, split the difference, I think people are going to start to give Donald Trump a win. Well, it's still more than it was. Yeah, but it's way down. They got it wrapped up. It's only been 100 days or so. It wasn't a forever war like a lot of doomers predicted. Those things are going, the fuel prices are going to come back down. The president is going to take victory laps over this. This thing, I wanted this war wrapped up by Memorial Day weekend to get, to have something to talk about before summer travel, but they got it done before my second deadline, which was July 4th. At least it looks like that's what's going to happen. The president's going to take victory laps on it. The public is going to relax. They're not going to have this war to point to. Folks, I'm not saying we're going to blow them out. I'm not even saying I think a blowout is possible. The way this country is, so polarized, it probably isn't at this point. It's going to be a razor-thin majority either way, whether it's for Democrats or for Republicans. But I know a lot of people who are like, oh, we're going to get our doors blown off. Not necessarily. I want you to look at these close polling numbers, and I want you to be motivated. Because I'm motivated. Georgia Senate runoff today. Mike Collins hopefully will pull that off. I think he will. And I'll make a bold prediction right now. If Mike Collins is the guy, and I think he's going to be the guy, he will beat Jon Ossoff. I think so. It's a hard worker who can't be stopped. Guy got outspent 15-1, won his primary, didn't finish at 50%, so he had to advance to a runoff. Alabama, runoffs are today as well. Washington, D.C., primaries are today as well. And Oklahoma is having primaries today. So a short little election day around the country. When we come back, we're going to talk about a little bit more polling. Graham Plattner, Mr. Nazi Tattoo, is getting some pretty bad polling in Maine. We'll see how it goes. And we'll talk about the hypocrisy that is surrounding Graham Plattner, the Democrats. This is the party of Punch a Nazi. And it's interesting how fast the party of Punch a Nazi has become a party of Elect the Nazi. Very strange. Very strange. Shawn Farash on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Coming back right after this. 855-839-1210 if you'd like to chime in. Thoughts on Iran. Thoughts on the midterms. Thoughts on anything else. By the way, 5 o'clock hour. You're not going to want to miss the drive at 5. We're going to have a moment, Philly, you and I. We're going to have a moment. It's going to be nice. I play the heel a lot. But you're going to like this, I think. You're going to like this. So stick around. We'll be right back on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT right after this.
As dads, it's our job to capture as many memories with our kids as possible. It's also our job to embarrass them. And if we're lucky, we get to do both. That's why I'm thankful my son created Legacy Box, the world's largest digitizer of home movies and photos.
And I'll never recover from the time you showed up to my middle school dance to disco in front of everyone. Thanks, Dad. But he's right. Simply fill your Legacy Box with your old VHS, camcorder tapes, film reels, and photos, and we'll do the rest.
And in just a couple of weeks, you'll get your originals back, along with a DVD, thumb drive, or cloud delivery. Stuff that even an old man like me can figure out.
Plus, for a limited time, we're offering a special Father's Day sale.
Go to legacybox.com/radio to get an incredible deal. Buy today to take advantage of this limited offer. Go to legacybox.com/radio
to get started and save.
legacybox.com/radio.
This is the sound of Claire cooking dinner at home. And that's the sound of a fraud alert from Wells Fargo, flagging a charge for a pricey restaurant in Paris. Considering Claire isn't in Paris right now, that seemed odd to the bank and to Claire. 2 taps later, Claire says nope to the charge, and Wells Fargo is on the case. However you make money work, Wells Fargo can work with that.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
You know what I love? American-made products, baby. That's right. It's Rich Zioli. American-made products, and that's what you get from Emmons Roofing and Siding. Owens Corning shingles are made in New Jersey. Certainteed siding made right outside of Philly. Provia windows and doors handcrafted in Ohio. And because Emmons is platinum with Owens Corning, your roof comes with a lifetime workmanship warranty. That's accountability on American-made quality from an American company right in our backyard. EmmonsRoofing.com, EmmonsRoofing.com.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Ethos.
There's a short list of trillion-dollar companies, and NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang thinks Marvel Technology could join that prestigious club. Huang told a trade conference that Marvel is poised to take advantage of the next phase of AI infrastructure growth, which could lead to a $1 trillion valuation. Marvel has a new AI chip that it says is 25% more power efficient than rival data center chips. I'm Jason Brooks.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-384-9393. That's 800-384-9393.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-329-1010. That's 1-800-329-1010. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-329-1010. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Epic parties start at Staples. Now you can grab Party City balloons, decorations, and tableware, plus matching custom invites, banners, and more right at Staples. That was easy.
Broadcasting live from the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
It is 4:34 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. There we go. Good music coming in and out of the breaks today. These guys are on fire. And I know what to expect for that final segment. Happens every time. You guys know what page I'm on. Broadcasting live here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. I am down in the great state of Tennessee, live from the great feline civil war of 2026. Matt and Justin, I'm going to need your help for this one here. We talked about cats once. There was that one story I brought up where a guy like tripped on his cat and he sustained like insane injuries and almost died, right?
I know. I'm terrified of cats.
Both of you guys have cats, right? Like, is that the deal? Or
I have cats. I do not have a cat.
Okay. Both of you sound, by the way, the same on the microphone. So I think everybody doing.
I don't hear it.
It's because it's true. You know, if everyone says it, it's probably true. Okay? Right? Now, you're both laughing at the same time, so I don't know how you did that. But you got some funky technology going on over there. Anyway, so which one of you has the cat?
Justin. I have the cats.
Justin has the cat. Okay, Matthew doesn't have the cat, so we can't call you Catthew. So we're just going to call you. So that's fine. All right? Listen, this is all the time. So let me just explain something that happened here. We have 3, all right? And one of them is the mother. We took her in as a stray, and she gave birth, and we kept 2 of the kittens, the whole 9 yards. Well, an outdoor cat like came and started a fight outside of our screen porch, okay? And now none of them know who each other are, and they're all fighting, like all day long. Now, 2 of them are somewhat getting along, but one of them has to be caged away. So I'm calling it the Great Feline Civil War of 2026. Cats are freaking insane, dude. They're just nuts, all right? Now, whether or not you're going to trip down the stairs and sustain car crash injuries, or you're going to have your house divided up like a supermax prison to keep them from tearing out each other's throats, they're insane. These just nuts. Just you know, Justin.
I know exactly what you mean.
Are they brawling?
They've gotten better as I've had my one cat for about 5 years. We met.
Right.
Yeah, she was a stray that we had found. And blind in one eye. It was during a snowstorm, and she had walked up to our porch, so we took her in, and she just kind of stuck around. Yeah. And the other one,
that's what happens.
I don't know if you have any orange cats, but if you do,
no, those are crazy though.
Yeah, he is a psychopath. And in the very beginning, we've only had him for about 3 years. In the very beginning, he had a severe case of orange catitis, where just no matter what we did, he would freak out. It was chaos and calamity.
Right.
But
yeah,
thankfully, I'd say in like the last year and a half, they've both kind of mellowed out. You know, they're used to each other, and I've finally gotten to a point where I can just not worry about it when I come to work and not worry about my house getting like completely torn to shreds with them fighting with each other.
That must be nice.
You'll get there. You'll get there.
I long for the days. 10 days ago that was the case. But then somebody's stray or outdoor cat decided it was going to come start a fight with our cats, and now I'm like, you know what? If I find that cat, I'm going to. All right. So, Great Feline Civil War 2026. I will write a Gettysburg Address when this whole thing is over. 7 years ago, I got along very well with Abe Lincoln. Tremendous guy, by the way. Great guy. All right, I want to get off the cat story. But by the way, at the end of this hour, we're going full kangaroo story. This is a bizarre. You guys have no idea. I found a website that has some of the most bizarre news stories, and so real, but some of the most bizarre news stories that are out there. So there's a kangaroo on the loose, and you're not gonna guess as to where it is. But I did mention I found out legally you can own a kangaroo in Texas. So I know a few friends in Texas. They may get a kangaroo. That's not a joke. Like they're like, I'm gonna get one now that I know that I can get one. All right, that's pretty cool. But we're gonna go a little bit north of Texas right now. We're gonna go to Maine. All right, where Mr. Nazi Tattoo, we call him Maine Führer. Now, if it sounds like I'm a Nazi, I'm not. I'm saying Maine, M-A-I-N-E, Führer, which was Hitler's title, because he is the Führer of Maine. Graham Plattner, Nazi tattoo. He's got it right on his chest. And everyone's like, oh, what's the big deal? It's just a Nazi tattoo. Well, the big deal is that it's a Nazi tattoo. It's not a smiley face. It's not his favorite sports team. The only thing that could be worse, maybe if it was a Jets tattoo. That's not offensive to anyone but the Jet fan, right? Like to the person who has it. Speaking of the Jets, I now have renewed hope that they'll finally win something, because if the Knicks could do it, anyone could do it. More on that in a little bit. Graham Plattner is receiving. Are you shocked? Anybody shocked that his polling is like not great? Anyone shocked? Because I read this and said, what? Graham Plattner's not getting favorable polls? Well, that's very strange. All right, here we go. This is from a few days ago. It's a little older, but it's still relevant. It's one of the, they don't poll these races too much, but this is going to now be a high-profile race, which is going to hurt Plattner because Nazi tattoo. I can't stop saying it. I can't believe this is even a reality. Now, by the way, the amount of times that I have been called a Nazi, you know how many Nazi tattoos I have? 0. I don't even have a tattoo. I don't even get my face. Well, I'm 35 years old, not going to get my face painted. But I barely even got my face painted. Ever since I scared the sugar honey iced tea out of my sister when they face painted me as Darth Maul once, she thought I was a terrorist. I was like, all right, maybe I won't do that anymore. That face painter, though, I made that woman work. I was like, I don't know, 10, 11 years old. I made that woman work. She did a bang up job. I said, Darth Maul. She goes, well, you want to be a horse? I said, no, Darth Maul. Oh boy. This is before smartphones and all that. So she did so well. It was great. I got to find it. My mom's probably got a picture of it somewhere. All right. The Democrats in Maine nominated Maine Führer Graham Plattner. Now, even his internal polls, which tend to skew in the direction of the candidate who is, asking the polling firm to do a poll, even his internal polls had the lead closing. He had a lead of just 4 points, internal poll. And again, that polling generally underestimates the opponent. And for whatever reason, Susan Collins, because she's kind of low energy, she kind of just, you don't really see her. Polling has significantly undersampled her for the last 3 election cycles. Trump endorsed Susan Collins. People say, oh, why would he endorse Susan Collins? Because let me explain to you how the Senate works, okay? If you have more seats held by your party than the other party, or in this case, because you have J.D. Vance as the president of the Senate, so 50-50 still gives the Republicans control. The more seats with an R next to it, that's just better at the end of the day. There's no other Republican Senate candidate that's going to do as well as Susan Collins in Maine than Susan Collins. It's just it's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. And I'd rather take somebody who maybe only votes with us 50% of the time, but still counts as an R for the sake of having that many seats, which gives us committee leadership and majority. Again, not that John Thune is some great guy, but it's still as frustrating as the Senate has been. We could all agree on this. It's better than if Democrats were in control in the Senate. I think we could agree. If you're a Republican, you could probably agree with that. You say, all right, that's not much. It's not a very high bar, but it's at least something, right? It's at least something. Qantas Insights. Here we go. It's the third time we mentioned them today. Now, remember, I said Qantas Insights. Qantas Insights had the best accuracy in Kentucky's 4th congressional district in the Massey primary. I think Qantas Insights found Ed Galrine leading by 8 or 9 points, and he wound up winning by just about 10 points. Okay. Qantas Insights had some new numbers in the Maine Senate race, and the Democrats who lined up to back Maine Führer, Graham Plattner, Mr. Big, the biggest, we have the biggest air quotes in the history of the world. So big. Oyster farmer. Oh, I know what he means by oyster farming, right? He's definitely playing with his oysters in a porta potty. That's what we heard. The Democrats line up. Apparently, they couldn't find better than him. I mean, you really could not find another warm body without a Nazi tattoo to go be your socialist candidate in Maine. You had to get this guy. All right. You had Bernie Sanders, right? That's another one. The crusty communist. I love Graham Plattner. He is a great guy, and he will fight the oligarchy with his walrus mustache. He has a walrus mustache. Back when I was younger in the 1700s, I was able to grow that type of mustache too. That's not a bad, people say your Bernie's pretty good. I don't think it's that good, but it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Bernie Sanders is behind him. Chief Spitting Bull Pocahontas is behind him. Graham Plattner. And now, wouldn't you know it, Qantas Insights finds it at a virtual tie. Plattner 46, Collins 45. A lot of time left to go. And all Susan Collins has got to do is shut up and let him continue to sink his own campaign. And if the Democrats don't flip Maine, there's no way they're flipping Texas. If the Democrats don't flip Maine, they might lose Michigan. They got Abu Sayed, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is dead. He died like a dog. The greatest press conference in the history of the world, by the way. Abu al-Sayed running in Michigan. Against Mike Rogers, who's done this a few times up there. Again, not my favorite, most conservative guy, but you flip the Michigan seat, that's significant. I'm a big fan of Mike Collins in Georgia. Is my bias getting in the way? It might be getting in the way. I think he could beat John Ossoff, but Ossoff's raising a lot of money. Doesn't matter. Mike Collins is a workhorse. Mike Collins, I think, can get it done. But if we're watching, we usually watch in the presidential election, like the swing states, whoever wins Pennsylvania is probably going to win the election. If the Democrats don't flip Maine, there's really no chance they're flipping the Senate. If they do flip Maine, they could flip the Senate. Doesn't mean they definitely will, because, for example, Georgia, Michigan, there are some other states out there that have some pretty close races. I'm biased, so take it for what it's worth. I don't see how Graham Plattner is going to pull this off. The man is known as the Nazi tattoo guy. Jason Corley of Qantas Insights says it's a notable movement in Maine since their poll in March. Collins has climbed, Plattner has fallen. What was a clear Plattner advantage has now tightened into a pure toss-up heading into the summer months. It's one of the most competitive Senate races on the board. This is before you take into account that for the last 2 to 3 election cycles of Susan Collins' political career, she's been underestimated in polling by 8 points. Is this possible that she's going to run away with it? Maybe. Again, you throw up these dogs of these awful candidates in these statewide races and in a national election cycle, It's not like trying to elect a Mamdani in New York or a Katie Wilson in Seattle. It's a totally different story. Let them. I'm not going to interrupt my enemy when they're making a mistake. And I don't think it's a stretch to say that nominating Graham Plattner, who has a Nazi tattoo, he has referred to it as his Totenkopf, which is what the SS guards had, the ones who guarded the concentration camp. I don't think, oh, it's just a tattoo. No, it's not just a tattoo. There's a pattern of behavior. This guy's just a maniac. Oh, he's been through a lot. Okay, I sympathize. I hope he gets better. Shouldn't go to the Senate. Shouldn't go to the Senate. I don't see how he's going to win. And if he doesn't flip Maine, I don't see how the Democrats flip the Senate. All right, we are going to return from break with a bizarre kangaroo story. The guys just did a little research, by the way, about Susan Collins. In 2020, Susan Collins defeated Sarah Gideon by 9 points. She had been projected to lose by as many as 12. Gideon also outspent Collins by more than 2-1. And it all unfolded despite Joe Biden winning in Maine. So I don't think they're, listen, with Texas, Ohio, Alaska, North Carolina may flip. Texas, I don't see it. Ohio, I don't see it. Alaska, I don't see it. And right now, Maine, I think, is in some trouble for the Democrats. But we got to jump on break. We got to come back. We're going to talk about kangaroos. Good on you, mate. Crikey. Look at the size of that beauty. Look at the size of that beauty. That's right. Is your favorite Australian outback president. We're going to make Australia great again. That was Trump the Australian. I rarely do that. Not too bad. We're back with more about kangaroos. You're not going to believe where one's on the loose right now on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. And then the drive at 5. Folks, you're not going to want to miss that. I've been excited about this since I wrote it out last night. So stick around, 855-839-1210 if you want to join in. We're back after this.
In Philadelphia, Chase is proud to root for the home team because they're our team too. We cheer from the bleachers and on the sidelines. We cheer for gymnasts and quarterbacks. And with more than 80 local Chase branches and 5,000 nationwide, we are right beside you, Philadelphia. Neighborhood bankers, digital tools, national strength. Chase, make more of what's yours.
JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
My obstructive hypertrophic cardiomyopathy kept me from baseball games with my boys. The stairs were too much. With Camzyos, my symptoms have improved and I can be more active again. Camzyos is a cardiac myosin inhibitor, the first in its class to treat adults with symptomatic OHCM. Camzyos may improve your symptoms and ability to be active, and it reduced obstruction in the heart 4 times more.
In a 30-week study, Camzyos, mavacamten, reduced post-exercise obstruction on average 47 units of pressure versus 10 with placebo. Results may vary. Camzyos may cause serious side effects, including heart failure that can lead to death, a risk that's increased with serious infection, irregular heartbeat, or with certain other medicines. Do not stop, start, or change medicines or dose without telling your doctor. You must have echocardiograms before and during treatment. Seek help for new or worsening heart failure symptoms. Camzyos is only available through a restricted program. Before taking, tell your doctor about all your medical conditions and current or planned pregnancy, as Camzyos may harm your unborn baby.
Visit Camzyos.com or call 1-855-CAMZYOS. Actor portrayal.
Summer is here, and so are the summer specials at Suburban Marble and Granite. Now is the perfect time to transform your home with premium stone and quality craftsmanship at up to 50% off. As they bring in more inventory, select styles and materials are available at incredible savings while supplies last. Don't miss this opportunity to upgrade your kitchen, bathroom, outdoor space, or custom project with stunning stone and expert installation. Take advantage of these limited time savings before they're gone. Suburban Marble and Granite. Endless possibilities, spectacular results. Visit suburbanmarble.com today.
Summer is right around the corner, and that means wind, rain, and roofing problems. When it comes to protecting your home, go with the real deal. Imprieto Roofing, Siding, Windows, and Doors. Family owned and operated for 53 years. One of the only roofing companies still run by the original family. They're the experts in the industry. That's experience, integrity. That's the real deal. Call 610-644-4444 for your free estimate today. The best homes have an Impriano roof.
If you own a business, you've heard it all. From fast funding to easy approvals, everyone says the same thing. LendSeek is different. We show you what you actually qualify for. LendSeek's AI-enabled platform matches you with funding options with no guesswork. Up to $5 million in as fast as 24 hours. If you've been in business over a year, doing at least $50,000 per month, apply for free with zero out-of-pocket costs and access to over 100 lenders. Start ready, stay ready. Lendseek.com. LENDSEEK.com.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Hi, this is Larry Steinhaus, and I want to let you know that I buy houses. I buy houses from people that may be a tired landlord, maybe somebody who's having trouble selling their house, or maybe someone who needs to sell their house quickly. Well, all you need to do is call 855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137, and I promise to answer the phone and help you with your situation. That's right, your house may be cluttered. It may be a house that a relative left you, or it may just be a house you just want to get rid of. 855-939-1137.
I finished a 5K in 94th place, right after a man wearing jeans. They still gave me a medal. I don't want a reward for doing. I want a reward for dominating. Like Daily Prize Matcher on Bet365. I play for free and win real rewards, like up to $5,000 in cash weekly. Unlike that joker in denim. Bet365. Winning is everything. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically present in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. T's and C's apply.
When you're injured on the job, you need more than just a workers' comp lawyer. When you need a fighter, you need us. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. For the people. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
From Broomall to Blackwood, we know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
That's right. There it is. 4:54 p.m. Men at work. It's the Land Down Under. I get along very well with the men at the Land Down Under, by the way. You better run. You better take cover. You better take cover. We're going to drop more bombs on you people if you don't do that. You look at. He handed me a Vegemite sandwich. I said, what the hell is that? That's not a Big Mac. We don't want a Vegemite sandwich. Men at work. There it is. Are they a one-hit wonder like the Goo Goo Dolls? I don't know. I think I'm going to ask that question every time we get new music on the show. You guys never played the Men at Work before when we came back. There it is. All right, here we go. Here we go. Let us get into this story about these kangaroos, shall we? There is a kangaroo on the loose. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. There was a kangaroo on the loose in Texas. And I said, and I took it upon myself, I said, what the hell is a kangaroo doing on the loose in Texas? I'm like, I know Texas is huge, and like there's some crazy stuff over there, and they have the longhorns and all this, and then James Tallarico is running for Senate. But like, how does a kangaroo get loose in Texas? Then I look up that you're allowed to own them. You could just have them. Well, this one's in a lot more of a dangerous place than Texas. You know, they're not afraid of them in Texas, but they would be afraid of them in a place like, oh, I don't know, Canada. You guys believe there's a kangaroo loose near Montreal, Canada. And rumor has it, those French are already surrendering up there in Canada. I almost said a word you're not allowed to say on the radio.
I'm hovering over the dump button just in case.
Yeah, no, we're okay. I have my own dump button, by the way. I have a little, right? So I could beep. I could do that. I could do Morse code too, you know. Right? So like we're in trouble, little SOS. That's not so bad. This little board over here it's good. I got the Karen button too.
We're Karens now? Did Dave Portnoy really get mad about the Michelle Obama joke?
All right.
I love that Karen button. That's my favorite bit.
The Karen button will be out next hour.
Thank you.
The Galahad SPCA said the kangaroo, by the way, in Montreal. I mean, these Canadians are probably freaking out. They are all surrendering. The white flags are being waved. They said the kangaroo was first reported. What is a kangaroo doing in Canada? Now I got to look up if it's legal to own a kangaroo in Canada, because, by the way, if it is, I'm unfortunately going to have to, consider moving to Canada just to own a kangaroo, or having a home there just to own a kangaroo. But here you go. The Galahad SPCA said the kangaroo was first reported Wednesday being kept improperly in a stable, and officials believe it may have been being kept illegally. Okay. The SPCA said no kangaroo permits had been issued in the area. So they have permits for kangaroos in Canada. All right. The marsupial subsequently escaped and has been repeatedly spotted in a nearby field. So there is a kangaroo on the loose in Montreal. The Miller Zoo has offered to give the kangaroo a new home, but SPCA officials said Quebec's Ministry of the Environment told them that a permit would be required to capture and transport the kangaroo, which has been sticking close to the open field in Boucherville. Ministry officials are scheduled to visit the area on Monday to determine how to best handle the situation. So this kangaroo is on the loose because they can't get a permit to get the kangaroo. This is why government sucks. Okay? Just go get the kangaroo, shoot it with a sleepy dart, small room, big needle, and take them to the zoo. You're going to do a permit. You got to do all this red tape. But I find it funny that a kangaroo is on the loose in Canada because, quite honestly, screw that country, okay? I was very happy when I saw the Carolina Hurricanes beat the Montreal Canadiens. They're out. Now there's a kangaroo out. Maybe the kangaroo is mad about the Stanley Cup. But I screw that country, really. Seriously. Oh, what do you have against Canada? I just don't like them. I think they're whiny and commies and French. And I screw them. They're your neighbors to the north. Well, they're sucky neighbors. And I'd like to just bring this up, but in the 2026 Olympic Games, the women, the men, and the paraplegic team of the United States of America whooped that Canadian caboose. Whooped them. 0 for 3. You know what's really funny about this, guys, is on social media, as soon as I start talking smack about Canada, the Canadians come out of the woodwork, and they're mean, but they're keyboard warriors because, what happens, with the whole French thing. The French gene takes over and they lay down, and that's it. They start worshiping. But there is a kangaroo on the loose in Montreal. What would you do if you woke up, you look outside your bedroom, and there's just a kangaroo there?
Well, I would have assumed I'd be able to catch up to it, like by foot, and actually catch this thing by hand. But I just
hop after it.
Well, that's a good idea. But I looked up kangaroo facts in preparation for this segment because I'm ashamed to admit publicly I didn't really know that much about kangaroos, and my knowledge was limited.
That's fine. They're not they're not native to our country. Right? They're illegal aliens, just like the people who come across the border.
But did you know they run 40 miles per hour? They don't look like they can move that fast.
How the hell are you catching up to it? You're talking about, I'm going to catch up to it. What are you talking about? You're going to catch up to it?
Well, now I know I can't.
40 miles an hour? What are you doing working for Odyssey? You run 40 miles an hour, you should be in the NFL.
Well, now that my knowledge of kangaroos is expanded, I know I won't be able to catch it on foot. But yeah, 40 miles per hour, that's insane. If I was going to
be able to catch it in a car these days, you good luck with like an EV. Those don't go that fast.
If I was going to beat it in a race, it would have to be like a 10K or something. Hope I can exhaust it.
You can really go at 40 miles an hour?
Yeah,
that's
apparently.
Fast.
Apparently they can get up to 6 feet tall as well.
Yeah, they are tall, and sometimes they're like jacked. You got to be careful. They can slice you open with their feet. They're like nasty sometimes. But now there's one on the loose in Canada. So if you hear about any, mass casualty events, it could be the kangaroo because they need a permit to get it, which is ridiculous. Just go get it. But maybe they're afraid of it. I don't know because they are French up there. Who knows? It's Canada. Screw them. You know what? Screw them, you losers. You, Canadians, you're all losers. You understand me? We'll go play. Don't make me play the Jack Hughes golden goal. All right? Because we'll do it. I'll put it up on X again and call you losers again. All right. When we come back, we got the drive at 5. And I wrote out something pretty cool. Philly, you and I are about to have a moment. All right? A good moment. I think this is going to be a good moment. And very interesting what I wrote out last night. I haven't looked at it since. So this is going to be fresh. All right? This is going to be fresh, boom, bap, ready to go. On Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. 855-839-1210. Do you think you could catch up to a kangaroo? If you want to chime in on that, you can chime in on that. It's 855-839-1210. Drive at 5 coming up next as we kick off the third and final hour of the day. We're back after this.
Babbel proudly presents the Sheep Cheese Fiasco.
Cute market. Ooh, cheese. Let's get cheese. Cheese, cheese, cheese. Hola. Quiero una oveja. Pequeñita.
¿Una oveja pequeñita?
Sí.
Bueno, pues tengo como 20.
Oh, no. But they're cute.
Don't let your Spanish fool you. Avoid bringing home the farm with Babbel, the award-winning language learning app.
Can you make us some cheese, please? Oh, cheese. You're not cheese.
Practice with Babbel's guided conversations based on real situations. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel will have you speaking conversationally in as little as 3 weeks.
Yes. Oh, you're so sweet.
Get up to 50% off on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. That's 50% off at BABBEL.com.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. After 15 years and over 50,000 cancellations, I can tell you with confidence, we know how to get you out of your timeshare. Call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit guide absolutely free with all your options for cancellation. Attorneys, this was meant to be funny, so please don't sue me, especially my friend Kenneth from Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-838-6767. 800-838-6767. 800-838-6767.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. You know, when it comes to complex dental care, experience matters. At Bentz Dental Group, board-certified prosthodontists, Dr. Robert Bentz and Dr. Emily Bentz, bring advanced training and expertise to every case. They use the latest technology. Their team delivers accurate diagnosis from the very start and builds personalized treatment for you. Whether it's wear or tear or more advanced concerns, you are in expert hands. Get the smile you really want. Call 610-272-6949 or visit BentzDentalGroup.com.
In Philadelphia, Chase is proud to root for the home team because they're our team too. We cheer from the bleachers. And on the sidelines, we cheer for gymnasts and quarterbacks. And with more than 80 local Chase branches and 5,000 nationwide, we are right beside you, Philadelphia. Neighborhood bankers, digital tools, national strength. Chase, make more of what's yours.
JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Hey, Dawn Stensland here. While the sun's out and the summer's in full swing, Kitchen Magic wants to help you fall back in love with your kitchen. They're a family-owned business right in Nazareth, PA since 1979, and for over 45 years, promising high quality and craftsmanship. This summer only, 40% off installation with flexible financing options for every budget. Don't wait for someday. Visit kitchenmagic.com and build something beautiful together. Kitchenmagic.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
I'm just a kid. I'm 6. I'm 9. I'm 4.5. And I've got asthma. You know just how upset I can get when I have an asthma attack.
And I know that you want to do all that you can do to help me. But you might not know
about all the different stuff that can make me have an asthma attack.
or all the simple things you can do to fight my asthma.
You can fight it with a bear.
You can fight it with a duck. You can fight it with a wrench.
Put my teddy bear in the freezer to wipe out dust mites.
Dry off rubber duckies and fix leaks to get rid of mold. Because mold can start my asthma attacks too.
Discover other simple ways to prevent an asthma attack. Visit noattacks.org. A public service message brought to you by the U.S. EPA, the Ad Council, and this station.
Thanks for doing all you can to help me out. Because I don't want to feel like a fish with no water.
Eric was way behind on his taxes.
I owed a lot of money to the IRS, almost $15,000.
Eric called Optima Tax Relief.
When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like 1, 2, 3.
Optima Tax Relief took care of Eric's problem.
And now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief. WPHT, HD, WOGL, HD3 Philadelphia. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. Now, The Drive at 5. 30 minutes of nonstop talk from Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
It is 5:07. It's The Drive at 5. Shawn, Farash on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Here until 6 o'clock. And we're about to have a moment, Philly. We're about to have a moment. We just had a moment, too. I just learned that both these guys think they can run 40 miles an hour. That's great, to chase a kangaroo. I think it's awesome. Yeah. Canadians, kangaroos, all sorts of crazy stuff. End of the hockey season last night. Congratulations to the Carolina Hurricanes. You know what I noticed? Fascinating observation, by the way. Fascinating observation. The Carolina Hurricanes on, was it Sunday night? Right? It wasn't last night. Was it last night?
Yeah, it was Sunday night.
Sunday night. Sunday night. My days are all mixed up because when you're enduring the great feline civil war of 2026, you just can't keep track of the days. But Sunday night, the Carolina Hurricanes won the Stanley Cup, and nothing in Carolina burned down. I was like told that when teams win championships, that things, like explode, they burn down. It's interesting. The Texas Rangers in 2023, they won the World Series. Nothing burned down in Texas either. But then you have the Knicks, Philly. It's time we had a moment. We're going to have a moment. I talk a lot of crap about your city all the time. But as you know, I'm from New York. My city embarrassed itself after the Knicks finally broke a 53-year championship drought. They embarrassed themselves. I was looking at that going, come on, guys. How am I going to be able to go on Philly radio this week and talk smack about this city when you guys just lit it on fire because the basketball team won a championship? We're going to take a little break from pure politics, although this is going to include a massive indictment on our culture, which runs parallel to politics. Bad politicians and bad policy has contributed to the decay of society, especially in some of these urban city centers like New York City and Philly. Now, I get it, right? I'm a Jets fan, which is, I got to tell you, that is no life to live. It's tough. It really is tough. But what makes it easier, though, is we're only concerned about the first 6 games of the year, and then we're 1-5 if we're lucky. And then it's we can put our feet up and just kind of enjoy the rest of the season. I happen to like the sport of football, so we're out of it early, and it's fine. But I get it. When a team wins, there are celebrations, and that obviously is appealing and attractive to bad actors, and they infiltrate the celebrations and they start rioting because that's what they do. Fine. But if that's what happens a lot, how come it didn't happen in Carolina after they just won the Stanley Cup? It's a question that's worth asking, right? In Philly, there's you guys got to grease the street poles to keep people from climbing up. That's a real thing, isn't it? They grease it. Do they put Crisco on it or something to keep people from climbing the street poles? It's a real thing. Okay.
They did it. They did it for the Super Bowl run, both for the NFC Championship game and for when we won the Super Bowl.
Right. Okay. So I get this. This is something that happens. It shouldn't, but it does. Well, in New York City, we don't even go that far. There's because first of all, nobody expects the Knicks, right? But second of all, the street poles weren't greased. There were people climbing those too. And I'm just looking at it going, the Philly guys ain't going to let me live this one down. It's a free-for-all. Equity or whatever you call it. Equity. School buses were burned and people were shot all over basketball. And by the way, the team won. Right? They won the NBA championship, which is surreal because it's the Knicks that we're talking about. I get it. I get being happy and excited and all about it, right? Your team wins. You just want to go crazy. It's fine. But don't burn school buses and vandalize the city. And that's just not the way to do it. That shouldn't be a controversial thought. No, but apparently that's racist. Okay. up until 2023, because I get this. I understand, living in sports oppression. I was a living, walking, breathing, suffering example of the guy who roots for the teams that never win. Mets, well, I wasn't a Mets fan. Jets, Texas Rangers. I mean, I guess you could say I was a Mets fan for a little bit. Like early childhood, I was, because my family were Mets fans, but I became a Texas Rangers fan anyway. Jets, Texas Rangers. I could just stop at Jets, right? But Jets, Texas Rangers, New York Islanders, Republican Party, like losers, right? We don't win. Thank you, 2023 Texas Rangers, by the way. At least, I will always have 2023 and YouTube so I can watch it. But never once did I think, I turned to my wife when the Rangers win the World Series, and I was like, Brennan, I'm flying to Dallas. I'm going to go burn some stuff down. No, not going to do that. Interesting, right? There must be something wrong with me for not thinking that way, of wanting to burn down an entire city or a school bus or cause property damage or shoot people because my favorite team won a title. There must be something wrong with me. And folks, trust me, there's plenty. Again, like the fact that I'm a Jets fan. But the Knicks, who I used to root for, but I rarely, if ever, watch the NBA anymore, so I can't claim Knicks fanhood right now. Well, they just broke their drought, so why not us? The Jets, right? I have hope. Why not the Jets? Never mind. That list of why not the Jets is too long, and we are in a long interrupted drive at 5 format right now, but no, it's still too long. We're not going to ever get through that. But what I'm getting at here is, even if it was the New York Jets, the team that I was raised watching, and the team that I was raised watch blowing leads and embarrassing themselves and inventing, just straight up inventing ways to lose football games, even if they won it all, I'd be excited. I may have 1 too many drinks or 9 too many drinks, or maybe a number that doesn't even exist. But even then, I'll just puke and rally and wake up with a headache, and I won't riot and burn things down and destroy things, but there will be people who do that because New York. In these cities, all they need is an excuse. And hey, the Knicks just did a thing that nobody thought they'd ever do again. So let's burn that bus and destroy that police car and shoot some people because we can. Right? Nothing says Knicks in 5, go New York, go New York, go. We're so happy to have, to be able to say that New York City is title town again. Nothing says that than shooting people and destroying property and burning buses and riots and making the city look like a third world country. They do it because they can. Because the mayor doesn't care. And they know it. This is no longer soft on crime. This is a pro-crime environment. This is Democrat rule. This is what I'm getting at here. So, no, I'm not a Knicks fan, per se. Not that I dislike them, but I can't claim fanhood. I won't pretend to be. I didn't watch a single full game this year, right? I mean, it was Christmas morning. I was going for a run. I'm on my treadmill. There's always basketball Christmas morning. And I put on the Knicks because it was on. I was like, ooh, let me feel dirty and watch the NBA. It's a woke league. Let's see what happens here. And like they were getting beat pretty bad. I think it was Christmas morning. It was either Christmas morning or Thanksgiving morning. I'm pretty sure. Oh, Thanksgiving, I didn't have a treadmill. So it had to be Christmas morning. And I believe they were playing Cleveland. And they were getting beat pretty bad, And I was like, well, the one time I turned these losers on, they're getting the doors blown off. Blah, blah, blah. I think they wound up coming back to win that game. I'm not sure, but I think so. But I didn't watch any full games this year. Not even into the playoffs. But there's a part of me, right, that feels good that I rooted for that team during the days of, you ready for these names? Mike D'Antoni, Mike Woodson, Jeremy Lin, Steve Novak, Staten Mello, Jared Jeffries, Coach Hornacek, the disaster that was Phil Jackson. Not being brought in to coach the team, but to do whatever it was that he did. I'm not so sure about that, what it was. That's when I was a quote-unquote Knicks fan, but I dropped the NBA. Basketball's a great sport, but that league is just not for me. But I have to say this, Philly. Villanova's Jalen Brunson, he is for me. That man is humble. He's a true underdog. He's selfless. And he should be celebrated. The whole team should, don't get me wrong. But what a story Jalen Brunson is. And the Villanova 3 that helped the Knicks win the championship. What a refreshing story out of the NBA. Not of some diva, some attention-seeking, weak-kneed, sackless shell of a man like LeBron James, telling the world that he's taking his talents to South Beach because he doesn't have the male fortitude to play in a real basketball city in front of the harshest media in the universe. Jalen Brunson, Villanova's own, ran into the fire. He was doubted every step of the way. He proved all of those doubters wrong. And what I love the most about it, and I'm not the type of person who's going to I'm not going to glaze professional athletes. Well, it's all they play a game, okay? But this guy's a little different. He proved his doubters wrong, and never once did he make this whole thing about himself. Did you know that Jalen Brunson gave up $100 million just to free up capital and money just so the Knicks could build a winner? It's great. It's selfless. Always talks about the team, always talked about the vision, and it worked, and now he's a champion. And who doesn't love a good underdog story, right? We all love a good underdog story. We're about to celebrate one of the best underdog stories in the history of underdog stories, America 250. We weren't supposed to win that war. We weren't supposed to beat the greatest military power on earth, but we did. Because there were a lot of great people led by even greater people, and they were all selfless, and they all did it for the vision and the future, and it worked, and they won. So, Philly, I have to say this. The way you people riot after sports wins is atrocious. But the way my people do it is atrocious, too. We just haven't been as successful as Philly recently. Although that has changed now with the Knicks. We'll see what happens with the other New York sports teams. But I know, Philly, he is a Villanova guy, Jalen Brunson. So thank you for Jalen Brunson. Not because he won my favorite basketball team a championship, because I don't have a favorite basketball team, but because that guy gave us something to feel good about. And sometimes that's the best damn thing about sports, isn't it? You can feel good for a little while. We've had a pretty rough week or so here with the great feline civil war of 2026. Trying to keep little mini lions from tearing each other apart. And I turn on basketball and I don't see a whiny diva. I don't see a woke crazy guy. I don't know his politics, Jalen Brunson. I see a humble man who is grateful and thankful that he had the opportunity to play the game that he loved, and he won, and I love it. So to Philadelphia, as much crap as I talk about your city, I'm going to continue talking that crap, but just know you now have a soft spot in my heart, not just because of 1210 WPHT, but because of Jalen Brunson and that feel-good story. Thank you, Philadelphia, for that. And that's probably the only time I'm ever going to say thank you to Philadelphia, to be completely honest with you. But there you go. There you go. What's the point of all of that, though? What is the point of contrasting the conduct of Carolina and the Carolina Hurricanes winning the Stanley Cup, or Texas and the Texas Rangers winning the World Series? I had somebody on X go, well, it's because the Knicks hadn't won in 53 years. I was like, okay, well, the Texas Rangers, 63 years of the franchise. Not only had they never won a World Series, but in 2011, they were one strike away twice. and blew it. There were no riots. What I don't understand, and I'll never understand it, is the mindset. Your favorite team just won a championship. And you do that? Philadelphia, you're going to grease the poles and slide up and down with what so you people can't climb up the pole. New York City, they didn't even do that. You had people climbing streetlights. You had buses on fire. You had police cars being swarmed and jumped on and destroyed. And 63 people were arrested. 63 people, that's a lot of people, were arrested. Now, what happens in places like New York City is they get arrested. And they go to they get booked or printed or whatever, and then they get back out and nothing ever happens to them, which is why that continues to happen. But the point of bringing this up in New York and Philadelphia and the way our fan base is, I grew up a sports radio guy. I know a lot about the New York-Philly rivalry. I had a lot of friends who were Giants fans. They didn't like the Eagles. I'm a Jets fan, so I don't really care. But, the point of this is look at this conduct. Look at this behavior. And the reason why this behavior continues to happen is because there are no consequences. Shawn, you just said 63 people were arrested. Yes, but in the cashless bail capital of the world, New York City, nothing's going to happen to those people. And if it does, then okay, they finally got something. Why does our culture put up with this crap? We have to say, I don't like soccer, but I'll tell you what, already the World Cup is here. And did I see this correctly? I'm pretty sure I did. Japanese soccer fans in a stadium after the game was over cleaning up garbage. Because that's what they do. That's the type of culture that they have. I'm not trying to tell you that, I just said it's the best blessing in the world. We hit the lottery by being born in the United States. I love our country. I love our culture. But my goodness, have we allowed a substantial amount of rot and decay to take place over the last couple of decades, haven't we? I'm not saying we all got to clean up and do what the Japanese fans did and make the stadium spotless. There are people who do that. It's their job, right? And so let them do it because it's their job. Help, fine. Throw out your own stuff. But ultimately, there are people whose job it is to clean up also. So it's not the end of the world if there's a little bit of garbage in the stadium. There's a lot of people in there. The point of the matter is this. Our culture has decayed. It has rotted away to the point where those types of things that you saw on Saturday night after the Knicks won the championship are just like accepted. Like, oh, it's just a bunch of people. They're just blowing off steam. What steam? The team won a sports game. There's no reason for this. None. I remember footage out of Los Angeles last summer where an actual ABC affiliate in L.A. said, well, we don't know if this is a riot or if this is just a bunch of people standing around having fun watching cars burn. Excuse me. What do you mean they're just standing around having fun watching cars burn? What does that mean? Did the cars just take it upon themselves? Did the cars go, is this like Disney Pixar? Lightning McQueen goes to the rest of them, Toe Mater, Larry the Cable Guy go, you know what would be fun? If we lit ourselves on fire to give them people a show. That's not how this works. The cars had to have been, they didn't just go on fire themselves unless they were Teslas in the winter. Then that does happen. No, it was the summer in Los Angeles. A bunch of people standing around having fun watching cars burn. Well, how did the cars start burning, guy? You want to enlighten us, Copernicus, on that one? We continue to excuse away and justify and rationalize and normalize and desensitize the country to cultural rot. And what is the old cliche? I think it was Andrew Breitbart who said it, but it was a bunch of other people who have said it also. Politics is downstream of culture. And who drives the culture in this country? Not necessarily politicians, right? Hollywood, the music industry, sports, social media. Now take a look at some of those segments of society. Hollywood, some of the sickest freaks in the whole world involved in that industry. Music industry, not much better. Sports, a lot of those guys at least staying busy. They're training, but, some crazy stuff happening in some of them sports leagues too. Social media, influencer culture. You see these guys beating themselves in the face with the hammers, these clavicular, these guys looks maxing, whatever you want. Look, I will never tell a person, you want your body to look good, you want to feel good, you want to be healthy. I'll never tell them not to go on a fitness journey. By all means, get yourself in shape. It's the best decision that you can make. I have been diligently on a workout routine since September of 2025. I will tell you right now, I feel like I'm 27 again. Sometimes not so much. Yeah, sometimes my back hurts. And the knees. I'm 35. It is what it is. But I feel a lot better than I did before I started. Let's just say that, okay? But look at how far this culture has fallen. Like, did New York City burn down 53 years ago when the Knicks won the title? I don't think so. Why now? Don't tell me it's because it's been a long time. You're making people like me look bad. Our culture has taken such a step back, several steps back, that it really is a shame. It really is a shame. And the reason why it continues is because now, if you criticize, you just don't like black sports. You don't like, it's just, you're racist for bringing this up. You're racist for contrasting this to hockey. You're racist. You're intolerant. Yeah, you're damn right. I am intolerant. I do not, yes. You want to say I'm intolerant of people who decide, hey, let's go light some school buses on fire because my favorite basketball team won a championship? Yes, I am 100% on board with not tolerating that behavior. 100%. Well, Shawn, what about January 6th? Oh, you want to talk about January 6th? Let's talk about January 6th. I was on record. I may have even said it a bunch of times on this station that I did not want a blanket pardon for every single January 6th defendant, because some of them went there to beat up police officers. Some of them maybe not showing up there to do that, but they got out of control and did something that they should be held accountable for. If your due process rights were violated, fine, a commutation. But a blanket pardon for people like Jake Lang, unacceptable. I thought. Now, it happened that way because it had to have happened quickly, the whole pardon situation. And some of the bad guys slipped through the cracks, like Jake Lang. And that's the cost of doing business. But I don't like what happened on January 6th in terms of the property damage that some people were involved in. I don't like that. And when I saw that start to happen on January 6th, because yes, I was there, I turned around and I got the F out of there. Because that's not why we showed up. That's not why my group showed up on that day in Washington, D.C. We went there to be peaceful, to let our voices be heard, to see what the Senate and the House were going to do in the certification process, and it got out of control. I'm not sitting there telling you that I thought it was an insurrection. But when it became a riot and people were busting windows, I said, that's not good. And a lot of those folks were provocateurs, agitators, not the people that we stand shoulder to shoulder with when we talk about, voting and saving the country. But you ain't going to get me on a gotcha when it comes to January 6th. The bottom line is this, folks. The decay and the rot of our culture has been allowed to continue, and in many cases, it's been accelerated. And the Democrat Party, who's the party of no longer soft on crime, pro-crime, they egg this stuff on. They love it. They love it. They love chaos. They love anarchy. They love death. They love destruction. And that is why when you see a sports team in Philadelphia or in New York or in Seattle or something, when they win, they have to prepare for riots. It should be a celebration. People could be dancing in the streets. You want to bang pots and pans. You want to celebrate whatever, the champagne popper. You do a little, okay. You start lighting things on fire, destroying property, shooting people, forcing the police to make arrests because of violence. Now we've got a problem. And instead of just excusing it away and going, well, it's just, because the sports team won. But that shouldn't happen because a sports team won. And we have to ask ourselves, why? Why is this happening because a sports team won? Why do people feel like, oh, the Knicks just won? And by the way, when they lost, they started attacking people wearing Spurs jerseys. Also unacceptable. It's sports, for heaven's sake. And I'm a big sports fan, but you don't just start assaulting people because they're in a different jersey. Yell at them, especially if they're a Buffalo Bills fan. I happen to tell Buffalo Bills fans all the time that they're born sideways. I don't know what it means, but it's funny. And they don't like it. And then I tell them, oh, you're a Buffalo Bills fan? Well, you're basically Canadian anyway. And we all know how I feel about Canadians. We need to look in the mirror when we see scenes like we saw out of New York City in the wake of a sports victory or loss and ask ourselves, how did it get like this? When did we decide that that type of thing is just what happens after a sporting event? It shouldn't be. We need to look in the mirror as a country, as a society, and a culture, and we need to get it to stop. Because you continue to allow uncivilized, savage, barbaric behavior to fester, it ain't going to go away. You can't just ignore it, right? I love these people. Oh, just ignore this. It'll go away. If you ignore your flat tire, it's going to stay flat. If you ignore a leak in your roof, it's going to get worse. If your house starts burning down and you ignore the fire, you're going to have no house left. We need to address it. The cultural rot needs to be addressed. Congratulations to the New York Knicks. And to the good fans out there that have been waiting for this moment, congratulations to you too. But to the jerks in your ranks, whether they're fans or not, who forced me to talk about this today because of how disgusting that display was, you got to get them in check too and get your house in order and start to confront these idiots before it's too late. We'll be back with more here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Yeah, we're going to have a little bit of fun with Dave Portnoy, okay? We're going to have a little bit of fun with Dave Portnoy when we come back with his stupid commentary about the UFC fighter and the Michelle Obama joke. Oh, you want me to apologize? You want me to condemn it and disavow? No, I don't think so. 855-839-1210 if you want to chime in. Shawn Farash taking you all the way to 6 o'clock here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. We're back after this.
Free speech lives here with Dom Giordano weekdays noon till 3 on Odyssey's #1 talk station, 1210 WPHT.
If you own a small business, the pressure never lets up. Something's always coming at you. That's why business owners turn to LendSeek for funding.
I don't need promises. I need options. LendSeek's AI platform showed me real funding choices. Now I can cover payroll, handle taxes, and go after growth opportunities without the daily stress.
Up to $5 million with funding in as fast as 24 hours. No upfront costs. No prepayment penalties. Start ready, stay ready. LendSeek.com. LendSeek.com.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
It's that time of year to address some of those nagging projects around the house you've been putting off. If replacing your home's old drafty windows and doors is on your to-do list, then you need to call my good friends at Guida Door and Window. Guida will help you get your project started with 20% off all windows and doors and letting you start your project today with no money out of pocket. And once your new high-quality windows and doors have been expertly installed, you'll have up to 3 full years to pay them off interest-free. So you'll be able to start enjoying all the benefits of new energy-efficient windows and doors, including increased comfort level of your home and lowered monthly energy bills, while having the luxury of paying off your project interest-free for up to 36 months. This offer is for a limited time only. Restrictions apply. For full details, call Guida today to schedule a free, no-obligation in-home estimate at 877-GO-GUIDA or visit them at GoGuida.com. That's go, Guida.com.
To 15-year-old Harper, buying an $80 vintage rock t-shirt is a great investment. To Harper's mom, this logic has a few holes in it. So she helped Harper open a Wells Fargo Clear Access banking account. With no overdraft fees and tools to track spending, Harper's learning, one heavy metal tee at a time. However you make money work, Wells Fargo can work with that.
Terms apply. Visit wellsfargo.com/deposit disclosures for fees and details.
Hi, this is Dave Barlow from Barlow Buick GMC in Woodbury, New Jersey. Baseball season is heating up, and so are the savings here at Barlow. The All-Star Buick GMC lineup is waiting for you. Leading off, the powerful GMC Sierra, built to knock expectations out of the park and be the MVP of every road trip. Visit Barlow Buick GMC this summer, where honest pricing and dedicated service are always part of the lineup, or shop 24/7 at barlowautogroup.com. Buick, exceptional by design. GMC, we are professional grade.
Hey, this is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. I've been talking about myself for all these years. Now it's time for you to hear from one of our great clients.
Investor Schooling lives up to the promises. Larry's a great teacher, teaches about the whole new approach to thinking about money. I've taken to heart many of the things that he's taught me, and my financial life has improved.
Come to Investor Schooling, and you could be just like Charlie and change your financial life. Go to investorschooling.com. We will see you Thursday.
Hit the road this season to watch the Birds. Book your road trip with Fans of Philly. Trips are available now for Nashville, Arizona, Chicago, and London. Travel in style with transportation, a pregame party, and game tickets to enjoy the Birds on the road this season with Fans of Philly. The official travel partner of 94 WIP and the Eagles Radio Network. Book now at fansofphilly.com. That's fans with a PH of Philly.com.
Epic parties start at Staples. Now you can grab Party City balloons, decorations, and tableware, plus matching custom invites, banners, and more right at Staples. That was easy.
Talk Radio 1210 WPHT from the Piazza Auto Group Studios. Experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations.
That's a little bit of the Blue Oyster Cult. There it is. A little more cowbell. Christopher Walken and what's his name? Will Ferrell. That's his name, yes. Saturday Night Live. It's fun. A little more cowbell. I got a fever. Don't fear the Reaper. All right, let's have a little fun, shall we? We're going to have a little bit of fun. Sunday night also, I was watching hockey because, you know, I could just not get enough of the Stanley Cup playoffs. I watched a lot of the playoffs this year. I did. I was shocked to see Vegas beat the Colorado Avalanche. But, you know, I watched a lot of playoffs. And I watched just about all of the Stanley Cup. The only game that I missed was, I believe, that Saturday game where Carolina went down 4-0, and then they tied it. I think it went to double overtime that night. And I came back. I was actually, my wife and I went out on that Saturday night to a small little distillery here in Tennessee to see our friend J.W. Griffin. If you watch The Voice, he was playing there. So we went over to see him. We met him years ago before anything. He's a great guy. So we went to go see him. He was doing a little live music at the bar. And it's the first time we'd seen him in a couple of years. So we went out, we caught up with him, great guy, and came home. And then I turned it on and boom, like within seconds of turning it on, Vegas scored the game-winning goal. And that turned out, I think, to be the last game that they won in the series. So where was I going with all that? Yes, Sunday night. The Stanley Cup wrapped up on Sunday night, so I was not watching the Freedom 250 event. But there was a little controversy, of course, that took place over at the Freedom 250 event. So let's go with this. There's this fighter, UFC fighter, and he's apparently known for doing stuff like this. He's a bit of a shock jock, and he's a bit of a shock jock in that he'll say these things that at the end of a fight kind of does like a little bit of a stand-up kind of bit or says something wild on the microphone. So I forget this guy's name. What's his name? This guy who did this?
Josh Hokett.
Josh Hokett. I believe won his fight and then took the mic out of the hands of Joe Rogan and cracked a joke about Michelle Obama. Let's roll it.
And lastly, Michelle Obama is a man. Am I right, America? Ladies and gentlemen.
All right. So he said that Michelle Obama's a man. I think it's hilarious. Now, people, is it the right place to say that in on the White House lawn? Well, you could make the case maybe he could have chose a better time or place. Okay. We can have that conversation. But at the end of the day, it is a joke. Okay? It's a joke. Oh, I just see here that Sean Penn is directing a movie about January 6th and Bradley Cooper's going to be in it. That's cool. I mean, it's going to be a movie that makes all Trump supporters look like terrorists, apparently, because Sean Penn has previously referred to Donald Trump as an enemy of mankind. But, I look like Bradley Cooper, they say. Dollar store Bradley Cooper. But so he says, he makes this joke. Whatever, right? And the next thing I see on social media are these leftists whining about it. Here we go. I know Justin, here we go. I got the pearls and you know what? We're gonna take the Karen up an act.
We're gonna take it up an octave. We went a little higher.
All right, ready? And it was,
oh my gosh! Did you hear what the guy said about Michelle Obama? How insensitive!
First of all, I thought it was Pride Month. So, is accusing someone of being trans offensive or not? It's June, the rainbows are all over the place and all that. So they're clutching their pearls. I see Harry Sisson. Oh, this is just atrocious. They should respect the former first lady. I saw some loser from some New England Patriots fan loser up there, right? He's holier than that. She probably has no idea, this woman, I forgot who it was. She probably has no idea who the quarterback was before Tom Brady. By the way, Drew Bledsoe. Thank you, Mo Lewis, for causing, the entire football world to have to deal with Brady for what felt like eons. Anyway, a lot of sports today, right? But the one that takes the cake, you guys have the Portnoy clip of Dave Portnoy?
Yep.
Donald Trump has to disavow this now. Okay, let's roll this from Dave Portnoy, which, by the way, if you've ever seen this guy use, a hammer, it is the most embarrassing thing I think I've ever seen. This is a guy, apparently, does the pizza reviews and the Barstool Sports thing. This is another loser, life loser from Massachusetts. These Boston sports fans, all them idiots. They're all
Karen,
right? All these people. Dave Portnoy gets out in front because, St. David, right? He's this morally upstanding guy. He's going to pass judgment. Donald Trump now has to answer for a joke that a UFC fighter made after the event, after his fight, where he does this routinely and he makes jokes like this? Let's roll this Portnoy clip. Go ahead.
There was one moment I do think Trump has to denounce, and anybody associated with it has to denounce, and that's that crazy fighter guy. I don't even have his name up here, but he won the fight. He took the microphone and he made a derogatory comment about Michelle Obama. To me, that on the White House lawn. Now, these are UFC guys, all right? They're crazy. They're idiots. You have Shawn Strickland, who's one of the craziest people of all time, to the point you can't even pay attention to what he says snuck in. But when you have that on the White House lawn, on an event you put down, I don't care what you think about the Obamas or anything, that has to be an immediate denounce. Wrong, doesn't speak for me. I have no problem with the event. I guess you run that risk because these guys are lunatics, but that was the only thing. If Trump should denounce it, he should say that was totally wrong. The event itself, listen, the troops seem to love it. All the people there seem to love it. I have no problem with it. I think you're crying over spilled milk if you are upset about the actual event. But that comment, if you're going to do it, own it and be like, that was wrong and should never happen.
Oh, my gosh. You're going to talk about crying over spilled milk? You're whining about something, a joke. This reminds me of remember the Tony Hinchcliffe, Puerto Rico is a floating island of garbage and everyone went and flipped out, lost their minds? Did he really just call Puerto Ricans garbage? No. He, if anything, made a joke about a real issue in Puerto Rico. A lot of garbage washes up on the beach there. Number one. Number two, crying over spilled milk. Bro, you are literally whining about a joke that a fighter made. This is something that he does after fights all the time. Okay, White House lawn, she's a former first lady. You want to say it was in poor taste? Fine, but most jokes are in poor taste. I got to be honest. They're jokes, okay? Every joke has a punchline, and that's why comedy sucks now. The left has sucked the joy out of comedy, right? Because you can't have victims, can't have punchlines anymore, can't have anyone who gets offended. So here's Dave Portnoy now, offended. He's gone full Karen. It's beyond Karen. He's HOA Karen, which means he's a Karen with a clipboard, looking for reasons to complain.
It has to be an immediate disavow. I can't take this. My heart on the pearls.
These are the Portnoy pearls now. Are you serious? Are you kidding me? What a whiny little baby this guy is. Donald Trump has to. That's an automatic denounce. No, it's not. It's an automatic go F yourself, Dave Portnoy. The guy made a joke. He's not a politician. He's not a senator. He's not a representative. He's not a cabinet official. We don't even know if he likes Donald Trump. Will Chamberlain said that the first hour. We don't even know if he likes Donald Trump. He made a joke that has to be an immediate denounce. Why? Because you said so? Do you think anybody what purpose would that serve? What purpose? Do you think there's going to be some leftist out there who's going to change their mind about Donald Trump because he denounced the comments? Oh, I like him now. You think somebody who's a moderate, someone standing there is getting ready to vote in the midterms is going to think back, I wonder, should I vote for, Nazi tattoo guy in Maine or the guy Trump endorsed in Maine, or the woman Trump endorsed in Maine, Susan Collins? Didn't Trump not disavow the comments? Oh, yeah, I'm voting for Grant Plano, the Nazi tattoo guy. Are you serious? So we're whining about a joke that a fighter made? You're kidding me. What a hack. We don't apologize to the left. You know what? They have called us Nazis. They've called us Hitler. They laughed their butts off and celebrated when Charlie Kirk died. The previous administration had topless lesbians dancing on the Great Lawn of the White House. There was cocaine in the White House. There was a spy balloon over the country. There was all sorts of crap that went on under the Biden regime. I didn't hear Dave Portnoy going. Remember when Joe Biden made that speech with the red backdrop? And he called, MAGA Republicans a threat to the fabric of the country. They've called us Nazis. They've called Trump Hitler. People have tried to kill him because of it. They're all asking, they're all saying, it's a shame that the White House correspondent shooter didn't get a shot off on Trump. It's a shame that Crooks and Butler miss. A shame that they didn't kill him on the golf course. They're wishing death upon everybody who disagrees with them. But he has got to disavow and denounce a comment made by a UFC fighter who has no relation to Donald Trump whatsoever. Why? Because Dave Portnoy wants it? Do me a favor, Dave, you degenerate schmuck. Before you open your mouth and let everyone know that you pee sitting down, think about whether or not you want people to know that. Because I'll tell you what, Michelle Obama, the joke about her being a man, I'll tell you what's not a joke. Dave Portnoy is a woman after that take. I call him a sitter. He's a sitter. We'll take a quick break here. We'll come back and wrap up the third and final hour on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. These Boston sports fans always come up with the stupidest things to say. We're back after this.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to Supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At Supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to Supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's Supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
I finished a 5K in 94th place, right after a man wearing jeans. They still gave me a medal. I don't want a reward for doing. I want a reward for dominating. Like Daily Prize Matcher on Bet365. I play for free and win real rewards, like up to $5,000 in cash weekly. Unlike that joker in denim. Bet365. Winning is everything. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically present in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. T's and C's apply.
Babbel proudly presents The Bookstore Bungle.
Librairie means library in French, right?
Yeah, obviously.
I just love a library.
The French are so loud, though.
Yeah. Hey, be quiet. This is a library. S'il vous plaît.
Ce n'est pas une bibliothèque.
Bibliothèque? I think that's Spanish, ma'am.
You are in a bookstore, not a library.
Oh.
No more bookstore bungles with Babbel.
Touriste.
Learn to speak like a local and act like one too. Practice with Babbel's guided conversations based on real situations. Get up to 50% off on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com to get up to 50% off. Babbel.com.
You don't need another opinion, just the facts.
What caused that crash on the Schuylkill? Will it rain before the kids' game? What happened at the school board meeting last night?
At KYW News Radio, we don't take sides. We take notes, delivering the information you need to make the best decisions for your family.
The news you need whenever you need it.
Depend on KYW News Radio, Philadelphia's most trusted news leader for more than 60 years.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathy Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
Now, You can listen to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the iHeartRadio app.
Yes. It is the Team USA goal song, the greatest song ever written. Freebird. If it was up to me, it'd be our national anthem. And because all these people like to kneel, that song's like 9 minutes long. You have to stand the whole time and play air guitar. As I'm wearing my Team USA hockey jersey. Why? Because F Canada, that's why. Good luck with the kangaroo in Montreal. I love it. These guys know it. You know, we close out every show with Freebird, and it's great. It's fantastic. And by the way, this looks good on me, this jersey. As you can tell, I'm being about as humble as anyone has ever been. There it is. All right. We're going to wrap this bad boy up. We're going to do one more fun, just a really fun story. A new Guinness World Record was solved. It's a good one. A new Guinness World Record was solved. A man solved 2 Rubik's Cubes while skydiving to break a world record. There you go. Justin and Matt, have you guys ever solved the Rubik's Cube before?
I have tried
I have
and
not.
been very unsuccessful.
You know what the easiest way to do it is? Just pop the pieces out and put them. I'm not going to sit here and, which way am I going to go? I'm just going to take the pieces. All it is, the rules are that you have to have all the colors, each side has to be the same color, right? All the sides of the cube. So, just rearrange it. Little redecorating. Anyway, I hope everybody had a good time this afternoon. This one flew by. I'll tell you what, I feel like we just started. And we just had Will Chamberlain and we had Freebird. It's like in a flash, it's gone. Dave Portnoy is a Karen and will be a Karen until further. I'm going to actually nominate him for Karen of the Year. And he's got a lot of competition because the left is just out of control. But yeah, Portnoy nominated for Karen of the Year. Iran deal coming on Friday. And I'll see everybody here on Friday morning for Farash Friday on 1210 with Kale and Company. So excited for that as well. Matt and Justin, thank you so much for everything you do. Every time we do a show, it's so much fun. Appreciate you guys and gals. I'll be back tomorrow morning on my own show, rumble.com/LFATV for Ungoverned at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Until then, thank you guys for being here, listening, watching, commenting on the live chat, sharing with your friends. Appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got something for it. God bless you. God bless America. And thank you for your attention to this matter. See you soon.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team.